Hello and welcome back to Blood and Ashes. This is episode 105, where we will cover New Spring chapters 13 through 19. I am your host Mo, and I am joined once again by my soaking wet friends Willie
Sopping
and Jody.
Hello. Good morning.
Good evening. So this is probably the image, the one I'm alluding to in the intro, that I remember most clearly from reading this book now 20 odd years ago.
I mean, last
Is it 20
episode,
years ago?
it must be. At least.
Close.
Last episode, we all said, like, oh, in a pond or something about a pond.
Pond water.
Pond water. Is that the
Yes,
chapter?
yes.
Yes, it is the chapter you're thinking
Yes.
of.
And I thought the two, like the tit for tat, I thought the two events happened like much further apart, but they're like right on top of each other in the same chapter, in the same scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to get a nice big dose of Lan in these chapters as well. Hey, like Tower, cool, accepted, yeah. Love Moiraine, love Swan, all that stuff, but there's some cool Lan Malkieri shenanigans.
very cool to have all these dialogue, deep thoughts, long conversations. It really just gives us a window to his life.
I understand him on a level like I never thought possible.
He is a little bit more or a little less stone-faced. What does Min call him? Stone-faced?
Stone-faced.
He's a little less like that at this point. Like he's a little bit more emotive and a little bit loose. I mean, he's still, don't get me wrong. He is still a, what is the word? What's that philosophy? Stoic. That's it, yes. He is a stoic bastard, if nothing else.
That he is.
What I had no memory of is Swan just rocking up in Canluum. It was wild. I thought she was like a Black Archer sister who was like tempting her out of the inn, because she sort of like peeks in and then disappears and peeks in again, and then she's always just outside of sight and she's looking over her shoulder furtively. I thought it was, this is someone just luring Moiraine into a trap. But no, it's our Swan, to deliver a message with quite a lot of urgency. A lot of action, a lot of intrigue. Should we just get into it? You guys seem uninterested in talking shit. Let's just get into
I want to
business.
get into it. I'm kind of holding back and saying, get out of my chapters, because you open up the...
I was
this
tempted
is
to
great.
say the
Let's
same.
dive straight into Will's last chapter and talk about how great it is. And I'm like, okay, cool. Taking my line, taking my note. Okay.
All right. Well, then, instead of talking shit, let's correct some of our older shit in everyone's favorite section called Callbacks. I mentioned last time some of those emails in the back of the comic book version that I had, and from RJ to the guys that made the comic books. So I went and I read through all of them to see if there was anything interesting or like odd that RJ was pointing out to the developers of the comic. And there's a couple observations that he made. Like there's a lot more finer detail in this, but I thought some of these were interesting. He asked them to remove references to the Aiel riding horses and carrying pikes and swords. Good call.
Yes.
Yes, don't do that. Then there's some notes about the Aes Sedai in the tower wearing dresses instead of robes as depicted initially. So they're often, depicted wearing robes, and RJ's like, no, they wear dresses and they're very formal, most of the time. Interestingly, there was also a table of old tongue letters and numbers. So we can actually see what a numeral 1 looks like. Because remember, we spoke about the 111, the 111 on the oath rod in the tower. And it doesn't resemble anything like Roman numerals. In fact, the number for 1 is a very horizontal line with the little accents on the end and then a single little dot above it. So if they followed the same writing convention as we did, which you can't assume, but there was a set of numerals from 0 to 9, then the depiction of 111 would be a very long, very horizontal image, and nothing like the 3 wickets or the Roman numerals that we might expect.
I mean, that could have also changed from the Age of Legends to now, because everything went to shit and they had to start with the fingers as the method of counting again.
But I mean, the Oath Rod was made in the Age of Legends, so those markings
Yes.
will not be.
So those markings are in the Old Tongue from the Age of Legends, which also canonically is years ahead of us. It hasn't happened yet.
So what does it say on the Oath Rod? What do those 3 lines mean? If you got the... Did you look it up?
No,
in
no,
the alphabet?
there's no picture of the Oath Rod with the 3 lines on it. But in the books, they say the number 111 is engraved on the Oath Rod.
Yeah, but to them it looks like 111. If we look at the Old Tongue chart there that RJ left us, does it correspond to anything? What does a number 1 look like? Is there a symbol there that looks like our number 1?
I feel like I literally just explained that. It's a horizontal line with little accents on either end and a little dot above it. That's the number 1.
Yes,
no,
I know, but
you didn't.
looks
You
like
explained
our
us
number
how
1.
the
Is
characters
that possibly
look
a
like and
letter?
what a 1 is.
Is it possibly a letter? Because it looks like a 1 to us, but it's obviously not a 1. You've just explained it. So is it a letter in that alphabet?
No.
Jody, I think I
No.
know what it is.
What do you think
I,
it is?
honestly, if this is ahead of us, you know, when you get a box with crap in it that you buy, there's
Yes.
always little signs on it, and one of them is arrows, like pointing up, this way up. It was like arrows pointing this way forward.
All right.
That's how you point it to the
Must
person
be.
when you use it.
I'll just go
Not
and
a
look it up
number.
myself.
Nothing. It's this side up.
Remember, when they're reading the Old Tongue on the Oath Rod, they are reading Old Tongue numerals that they recognize as 111. So the numerals are not some other letter or anything. They are that.
Okay.
I'm assuming 3 1s, like I just described what a 1 looks like. 3 of them in a row. Because RJ's translation isn't like, you know how with the Roman numerals, they've got, M's and C's and stuff for, different subsets of tens and hundreds and thousands and that sort of thing. So it isn't just 3 of the same thing necessarily. Like 100 in Roman numerals is a C, isn't it? I think so. But because it just, he only had numerals 0 to 9 and a corresponding number for each, I have to assume that 111 would just be 3 1s, and it'd be 3 of those horizontal lines with a little dot above them.
So that's what they're seeing. I thought that they were describing what they were seeing as 3 vertical lines.
In the books, they say, when they
It
describe the Oath Rod, they say it's engraved with the number 111.
It's also assuming that they have factored in 0 as a number. I mean, this
Well, they have.
this conversation can go on for hours.
It
can.
It will.
It has. It feels like it has. Another thing he corrected from the cartoon or the comic book creators was that they originally had Tamra in a coffin, but she should have been in a shroud. And then loads of notes about missing serpent rings on specific pages and missing Amyrlin stole in one. He was noticing like when in one frame someone had an Aes Sedai ring on one hand and in another frame the Aes Sedai ring is on the other hand. So he's calling out like that level of detail. And I mean, the rings are tiny on the pages, right? So it's not like they jump out at you either.
Now that's a true Mr. Pedantic, that.
Yes. Kind of makes me feel a bit justified in my pedantry. Then the last one I had here is that Robert Jordan's opinion of the first draft of the attackers outside the stable is, quote, "None of the men are bare-chested. They look like ordinary men with swords at their waist. These guys look like extras from the Conan the Barbarian movie." And more on those men later. Then, the short story of New Spring was also just called New Spring and was published in 1998 in an anthology of fantasy short stories called Legends. I know Jonna is on the hunt for a copy, or she has already ordered one, and it contains stories by Stephen King, Orson Scott Card, Raymond E. Feist, Terry Pratchett, George R.R. Martin, Tad Williams, Anne McCaffrey, Robert Jordan, a bunch, right?
Yeah.
Even more. So there's probably some cool stuff in there, probably an anthology worth having. Those are all authors I enjoy.
It's me. I ordered it. It should be here next week.
You as well? Jonna emailed to say that she's on the hunt.
When you shared it within our group, I went on Amazon, found it, bought it, and then shared the screenshot.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you did. You sent, you sent a
its way.
picture of it. Yes. Billy, that episode of that we did as actually a YouTube stream on the last strike at Shal Ghul is also from. Oh no, wait. We did the strike at Shal Ghul. Did we do one on the River of Souls? We did. Hey, we've done 2.
No, we did the strike. Myself and you, I think, did the strike at Shigul. You did one with Joe.
Did Jody and I do River
He
of
won't
Souls?
remember. He doesn't remember what he had for breakfast yesterday. So
Okay, well, that's from another anthology called Unfettered.
Yeah. That was on the charity stream, right? On the YouTube.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
The Christmas something special.
What a holiday.
What a holiday.
What a holiday.
What a Christmas. What a
Christmas, there was red, there was jingles.
Yes.
There was.
Christmassy.
Okay, then a point of pedantry for me. I, in the last episode, at one point referred to the NE part of the date as New Earth instead of New Era. I don't know where Earth came from. I think it's like a little remnant of. Did you guys ever see a movie called Titan AE?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I did.
Right now.
Titan After
that.
Earth.
Yes.
I've not seen that since I was very young, so I should go check that out again.
I watched it with the kids a couple of years ago. It was fun.
And good.
Yeah, it's not a groundbreaking sci-fi masterpiece, but it was definitely fun for the kids.
Sweet. Then there was a mention of times in the previous episode. So good old Mo has gone and listed all of the Wheel of Time times of day for you. Remember, Moiraine was getting up really, really early.
Yes.
First rise is very early, before dawn. Guitarra Morosa has her fatal foretelling at this hour. Second rise, likely midway between first and second rise. What? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Seems a reasonable time to get up, so probably around dawn. Third rise, Elida's clock commissioned by Camille Sorenthane chimes third rise as she contemplates the construction of her palace. The builders had already begun work at this time, so third rise is sun is up. High is not as it might sound like noon, but mid-morning. So this is before dinner. This description makes no sense, but yes.
Was it AI that generated it for you, Moritz?
No, it's the fandom wiki that I just copied and pasted, and I did not read the entire thing. I was like, this will be useful.
Yeah.
Yes. Mid-morning in the companion entry on time units, this is also capitalized in reference to bells being rung, but isn't listed as an hour itself. Matt refers to mid-morning just before he bests Galad and Gawain with his quarterstaff. Midday/noon is the same as real life. Prime is in the afternoon. Given its name, it's either 1 p.m. or the first named hour. Nynaeve says that if you don't hear from the Amyrlin by midday, she wanted to be away by prime. Trine, novices' formal training hours finish at this time. Full occurs after supper. Novices sometimes had extra lessons between supper and full, but this was usually their period for doing chores. Last, all novices are supposed to be quiet and in bed by this time. Egwene calls a meeting of the Hall of the Tower in Tel'aran'rhiod in the chapter When Last Sounds. Last implies the last hour of the day, so perhaps 11 p.m. That it is almost the next day is implied in the mentioned chapter. Midnight, same as real life. First low, not explicitly mentioned, but seems likely to exist by implication of second low, and then second low occurs in the small hours of the morning, and Albiaran wakes Elida at this hour to report Kovarla Baldine's return from Dumai's Wells. In one ear,
I'm now more confused than ever.
out the other.
How does that compare with the eating schedule of a hobbit? When
That's what Jody brought up.
be
Second breakfast.
That's a whole other
breakfast
podcast.
and-
Second breakfast would probably be at high.
Because it's
No,
11
second
Z's is
breakfast
at
would be
11.
Third rise. 11 Z's is 11.
So
11,
then
I would
11
say
Z's could be
is
mid-morning.
high.
Yeah, 11 Z's is mid-morning.
But what about tea?
That's all we got to worry about is 11 Z's.
That's a third rise.
Second breakfast is third rise.
Second breakfast. First breakfast is at first rise.
Yes.
I mean, you got to get up and have food and then get the constitution moving.
I don't think a hobbit wakes up
coffee.
that early, so probably first breakfast is second rise. He'd still be sleeping by then.
Jesus.
Well, their stomach
I'm
wakes.
super lost track.
Third rise is second breakfast. And 11 Z's is, what's the other one? High.
High.
High. There we go. I'm glad we cleared that up, guys, because this is really what the podcast is all about.
This is why people tune in.
Exactly.
This is important stuff. It
I know.
creates, like structure in time, and so we all know because
Yes,
we read
yes.
these books and
The duck down that
it's-
fills the cushion of life.
for your mind's eye. When you read on the page that it is third rise, it's important that you understand where the sun sits so that
Yeah.
you can create the image in your head. You can feel the sun's rays on the eastern side of your
Of
face.
your face.
You can know where your reflection would be. Like those are the things that, like when you crest a hill, knowing there'd be sun right behind you, you'd stand out like a white cloak in a dark friend ball.
In the Dark Friend Social. Oh, there was a white cloak there.
All right, moving swiftly ahead before we hit midnight here. Vil, pedantry for you. The title is Keeper of the Chronicles, not Keeper of the Stole.
Chronicle Stole.
She does keep a stole.
She does. The Stole of the Keeper of the Chronicles.
As long as she doesn't keep a stool.
Ooh. When Moiraine delivers Tamara's message to Karenni, she asks if there will be a reply. Karenni says she will carry it herself and then immediately tells her warders that the Amyrlin wants to see her urgently, but she doesn't say why. This is what makes Moiraine smile and appreciate how accepted or ignored to the extent that an Aes Sedai will divulge detail from a direct message from the Amyrlin without thinking about them. We were wondering, what was that Karenni was saying that Moiraine was sort of privy to? And it's that like the Amyrlin did not say why, but she wants to see Karenni urgently, and that's how Moiraine starts putting together the theory about the Amyrlin searches. I had asked about or wondered about whether Jolene, who was unseated by Elida as a sitter for the Green, if she retains her sitter status after Egwene brings the tower back together, because Rena Halfdan, that we read about here, who is Elias's Aes Sedai, she takes Jolene's place as a sitter when Jolene is sent to Ibudar by Elida. So it's Elias's Aes Sedai who becomes the green sitter in Jolene's absence. Now, I couldn't see anywhere on her bio or anything whether she does regain her status, but Rena Halfdan is chosen by the head of the Green Archer to be a sitter because she's only 77. She's one of the two young sitters. So the whole plan by the Archer heads was that when the tower is reunified, the younger sitters can be, put one side, and the sitters from Saladar and the rebels can rejoin.
Last in, first out.
Yes, yes. Thanks for your service. Now move along. Maybe again in another 100 years. Then we asked about the snow on Dragonmount and what is the exact foretelling. It goes, he is born again. I feel him. The dragon takes his first breath on the slopes of Dragonmount. He is coming. He is coming. Light help us. Light help the world. He lies in the snow and cries like the thunder. He burns like the sun. So that's why Moiraine says when the snow around Dragonmount has disappeared, the window of time for which they need to search for newborns is closed. Now, something I didn't mention last time, but reoccurred to me while I was listening to the episode, is that did you also get the sense that the weaves that Moiraine and Siuan were practicing that they thought were pointless actually had a very specific purpose in the tests? The first one, you remember Moiraine, she channels what she calls like a silver blue coin, which is really just a disc of air that's hard and rings like steel if you knock on it. So she just makes a disc, but she mentions in that thing that you can use that weave to create any shape. And in the actual test, that first test is when those men are coming at her and she creates the wall, the box that she boxes them in with that specific weave. I just remember like her doing the practicing going, oh, there's a coin. And I was like, oh, hang on. She didn't use like a quote unquote coin of air in the test at all, but it was the encampment or the encasement that she made for those guys that she made from that same weave. And then the second weave that she practices when Elida is sort of pushing her and stuff, and even Morel before that, is a super complex one, like with all the different flows and have to be laid together in a very, very specific way. Otherwise, the whole thing will just collapse. And that's the one that she uses to make the brambles disappear. So in the real world, that weave has no practical application other than making a loud sound if you let it collapse. And then so I wondered if does that weave specifically do that thing where in the test it makes the brambles disappear, or is it just whatever the test is, when the Aes Sedai see from the outside that you have completed this very, very complex weave, they make the threat go away because they might not have the thorny brambles as everybody's test, right? It could be for anyone. But this
I
one,
think-
because it doesn't have a purpose, it's just like, can they do this complicated weave in the right order? Okay, then they can pass. That sort of
I
thing.
don't think that the difficulty that gets brought into the test is always related to the weave that needs to be performed.
No, because the first one is
I
just
think
air.
the first
It's
one is
actually
just
easy.
air, and it
Yeah.
works, and it's just like, okay, cool. Well, this is the thread. I'll just put them into a what do you call that? The lid that you put over food. You know, like the silver
Cloche.
cloche. Yeah, like I'll just make a cloche over these bandits that
Mm-hmm.
were greasy in the 50s grease guys.
The tunnel snakes.
But I think that it's neither one or the other, because some of these weaves might be to do about creating a complex shield or to shield a person that can channel. You'd imagine that these are things you need to be able to do under pressure,
Yeah.
especially if you're hunting
Yeah.
false dragons or something like that. I mean, that's the number one thing that you think is in a test. Like, there's a man that can channel. How quickly can you incapacitate him and restrain him? And while death head spiders is on your neck, going to
Yeah, because
chew
you're
your
allowed to channel
veins.
other weaves while you're doing this. That's not forbidden. So, like her little fire things on the side to get rid of the spiders are permitted.
And I mean, if you look at the weave, there was the last 99th test with her dad saying stay. Like, there's no relevance to making a weave there. It's just
No.
yeah. So an Elida special.
Yes. Okay, so then moving ahead, or as it is, back to the Great Hunt. We were talking about Varen and how she figures out that Rand is the Dragon Reborn, because Joe, you were saying she had read Moiraine's book. In the Great Hunt, Varen gives Siuan and Moiraine a rundown of the Dark Prophecy. So this is how it comes about. Remember, like after the Trollocs had attacked in Faldara, Varen goes and she and Seraphel actually decipher the Dark Prophecy on the wall. And one section, by the way, is specifically in Anita hand. And Varen says it could have been a Dark Friend or a Madral that wrote it. So like, there were some clues as to who could have written it from the beginning that we never went and checked, and we just speculated wildly. But anyway, she talks about like some of the stuff. She almost analyzes it line by line. She's talking about Tome and Head and Arthur Hawkwing's returning army. And when Siuan eventually sort of dismisses her, she says, Varen, she says, oh, and the man who channels in the prophecy on the wall must be one of the three boys traveling with Moiraine. And both Moiraine and Siuan embrace the source at that moment. And Varen just smiles knowingly, like they give it away in that moment. So she's like, okay, so it is one of the three boys traveling with you. And she puzzles out that it's Rand.
I think
So
Varen has puzzled a lot more out
she
way
is
before then.
so smart. So
Back
smart. Moiraine and Siuan realize that here as well. They're like, not so aloof. Actually, very, very astute. Yeah.
And again, being in the Black Aja would also have given a certain information to how quickly the deaths of Tamra and the rest of them.
Yes, I mean we read
all of
here about how
those
the Black
things-
Aja is on this. Like they figured it out. Like they're on the case and they're killing people, and some people we'll read about. Joe, one for you. At one point, Siuan describes a silver pike being as long as your leg, so very much like a barracuda. They're mentioned all in all 24 times in all the books. It feels like more. It feels like a couple times every book. Then I said that First Selector is a goofy name for an Aja head. Would you like to hear what all the Aja heads are called?
Roll out the goof. Let's go.
Okay, here comes the goof. Red Aja, we also know, is the highest. Blue Aja, First Selector. Green Aja, we also know, Captain General. I sort of stumbled all over that one last time. The sister who leads the Yellow Aja is called the First Weaver, which I feel like we have heard somewhere. Rings a bell. Sister who leads the Grey Aja is titled the Head Clerk.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It does, and it's so boring. It's so bad.
Like you aspire to becoming the first clerk of
Gross. And the White Aja
Bureaucracy.
is led by the First Reasoner. being all logic, that makes sense. The Brown Archer is governed by an internal council, and the council's leader is the first chair.
The librarian.
No, the first chair.
Yeah, I don't know.
The library is full of Browns, though, but yeah, they do love a book and a bit of research. But yeah, it's just interesting that the Browns would have this little mini council set up, much like another Arja we know about with the council at the top. Then Jody, another one for you. Edith is a sitter. So the head of the Blue Arja isn't ordinarily a sitter, says Anaya to Moiraine and Siuan. But Edith, in this case, is actually a sitter because we Blues like to make most use of ability. So Edith is a sitter and first selector, so be it. Then, Shida Haran and his shadow traveling. We were saying, I wonder what the lighting in Alviaran's bedroom was like when Missana was there for Shida Haran to arrive. Was it in the cupboard? Did he arrive in the room next door and sneak in? What was the lighting? So I went back and I read, and this is what's so great about Robert Jordan, right? Thinks of everything. So when Missana arrives in Alviaran's room before Shida Haran arrives, the book says, suddenly the light in the room dimmed, enveloping the chamber in swirling twilight shadows. So that was the state of the room when Shida Haran arrives. And then abruptly the shadows in the room lurched. Everything seemed to shift sideways as the darkness thickened in midnight lumps. That's right as he starts talking to...
Yep. Why did the light dim?
He has effect on light and stuff around him once he's arrived. So we don't need him, Jody, to be able to alter the shadows in his destination, because every time we've read about him being somewhere, it's already shadowy.
Yeah, I think you just proved my point, but okay. The text proves me right. Before he arrives, the light dims. So who dimmed the light for him? Nobody was expecting.
No, it's not before he arrives. It's as he's arrived, the lights have dimmed, because Missana dimmed all the lights and draped the room in shadows. Semirag also mentions how he walks through a shadow and travels exactly like a fade. So there's already plenty of shadows.
Dimmed the lights.
Missana's already dimmed the room. So before Shida Haran has arrived, only Missana has arrived. Suddenly the light in the room dimmed, enveloping the chamber in swirling twilight shadows. So now it's Alviaran, Missana, and swirling twilight shadows. Talking. Suddenly it goes even darker. Shida Haran is there.
I don't think Missana dimmed the room for him.
No,
because
absolutely
she was
not.
Hiding.
No, she didn't expect him to come.
No, she's got a mask of mirrors on. She's got a flair for the dramatic, like all these Age of Legends.
I think if you think about it with every availability of the mechanics in the world, he probably travels through one of either Tel'aran'rhiod or one of these, and he can get there and it's like, this is where I want to go. It's a little bit light, magic, dark, pop out. Thank you.
I don't think he travels through Tel'aran'rhiod at all. Everyone that's noticing him travel is Semirag looks at him while he's walking away through a shadow and then talks about how he's disappeared, just like a fade, and how crazy it is that fades do that. I think what's easy to do is to confuse, at least this is what I was doing before, is to conflate what Moiraine does, who's just tearing holes in the pattern with a true power, stepping into Tel'aran'rhiod in the flesh, like he just does. He's quite insane and doesn't care about becoming more insane. But Shida Haran only needs a shadow. Okay. All right. And the last one here from me is just that we find out in these chapters that it is law in all the Borderlands to keep your face visible, not just in Arafel. So in all the Borderlands, you have to make sure that people can see your face. Then we had a couple of listener contributions, and it wouldn't be an episode without a message from Gerald, who goes, "Hey Mo, a longer than normal email today. Lots of things jumped out at me while I was listening to the latest episode. First, some pedantry. Moritz, I think you said something fairly early on about Semirag joining the Black Arja instead of being severed or being subject to a binder or binding rod. But back then there wouldn't have been a Black Arja because there were no Arjas. So yeah, good catch. Obviously, I meant she turned to the shadow. And who would want to be mistress of the novices? Someone that likes spanking, obviously.
There's a lot of those in these books. Yeah, everyone.
Yes, including the author.
Indeed.
Then Gerald goes, talking about how Tam, quote unquote, would have had enough money to buy a farm in the Two Rivers. Is that how things worked back in medieval times, even medieval times with magic? In my head, especially in the arse end of nowhere in the Dark Ages, surely you would just turn up and say, hi, I'm going to start farming out there far away from the town where nobody really gives a shit.
Possible. But you'd have to buy lumber
Possible.
to build the house and the fences and buy the tools.
That
and
was
buy
my
the
point.
sheep.
You need materials, yes. And the livestock, yes, all
Yeah.
that stuff, all the tools and stuff.
If the land belongs to a lord, you are free to work on the land, but
That's
you
the
have
feudal
lord-
system, right?
Yes.
Yes.
If the land is lordless, then you'll need a deed. You need to stake out an area that is yours and then purchase it from the governing body.
But as we know here, no lords, no taxpayers, no governing bodies of any
Yeah,
kind.
he flicked a silver mark to old mate
Bran?
in the inn, Bran, and said, I'll
be setting up shop out of town.
Mountain town up there. You got a problem with that? And he's like, no. And then they poured a cup of ale and they celebrated his victory in achieving land.
I also get the sense that Tam's farm was sort of like in the Westwood, right? Like it's in the forest. So like almost had to probably like clear a space or found a clearing and set up in that space, built a house and
Not many
the
farmers want to farm there. A lot of wolves, a lot of bears.
you have to ride the old quarry road to get back to town, like you're a little
every
ways
now
out
and
of
then a
town.
trolloc.
Yeah, watch out.
Tam was ready
Waygate
for
nearby.
Waygate.
Sounds like paradise, honestly. Miles away from any other stupid humans.
Yes, it's literally why
In
I
the
moved
forest.
to the country. Okay, Gerald continues with a thinking point. If Rand had died as the Dragon Reborn, but before the last battle, would there even have been a last battle? Would it be that the wheel would just go, oh shit, we fucked up. Let's just pause on that last battle thing and we'll give birth to a new Dragon Reborn. Or maybe we'll just make Perrin the Dragon Reborn, or Matt the Dragon Reborn, or maybe even Logan. What do you reckon? Would it be paused until we get a new one, or just shift the responsibility sideways to someone else who's around and might do a good enough job? Ooh, and what if they made Egwene the Dragon Reborn? Or is that too woke?
Well, if Rand died before the last battle, then the Dark had won.
Yeah.
The battle would commence and just sort of wipe the slate clean, and the land would turn to blight. And all the Dark friends would dance in a merry circle celebrating Beltane with trollocs and feasts and no good people.
Well, the prophecies are very clear about where the Dragon Reborn comes from, you know. He's an Aiel, you know. Like that whole prophecy, like it would have to be some other dude.
Born has to be marked, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of stuff. So I think, like, yeah, the Dark would just win. I mean, sorry, mate.
Also,
You lose.
it's specifically Lews Therin reborn. It has to be that same soul, right? So it can't just shift sideways into someone else because then he's not the dragon reborn.
No.
He's Matt's ancestor reborn or Perrin's ancestor reborn, you know, like whatever that may be. So I don't think it could just shift.
A lot of boxes to tick.
Exactly.
Or it just goes until everything aligns, because maybe 500 years ago the dragon was reborn into a very weak body, and then this guy couldn't handle the voices in his head and he jumped off a cliff. And then the shadow was like, oh shit, okay, let's churn out another boy. Let's see how we can make this work. Pattern weaving time.
I think the answer is actually easier than all of that.
No, it's not.
Anything we've said thus far. Because time is cyclical, the Dark One never wins. Otherwise, he's always won.
So what you're saying, the Dark One is winning?
He's gonna, like, their thing is he's gonna win eventually and break that
No.
cycle.
What I'm saying is he's never going to win.
That's a nice thought, Moritz.
Obviously, it's less exciting and less tension in the books, but, you know, like, there's...
Don't try and make sense of time travel shenanigans. Like, it never works. I've watched enough Star Trek to know that you can't answer those questions.
Star Trek can't. We can.
Well, if Star Trek can't do it, then it can't be done.
Then Gerald goes on. He says, I think in these chapters that you just reviewed was the first time I remember the books talking about the Aes Sedai waving their hands about for certain weaves. In my head, it was one of the first things I didn't like about the TV series when on episode 1 with the Trollocs attack at Winter Night, Moiraine is standing in the middle of the town waving her hands about really extravagantly to make shit happen. Whereas in my head, originally it was just all these things just happen. They make the weave, it happens, etc. So it is interesting to hear that some weaves are easier or faster or more effective if you do the hand wavy stuff. This has come up before, definitely.
Yeah, it's come up in the books, and I recall, could be my mind playing tricks on me, that a lot of people learn with their hands because it's easier to learn that way. So they just keep habit.
To the extent that someone says you can almost tell who has taught people certain weaves based on the gestures that they are using, because they can sometimes learn those gestures from the person that was just doing the gestures for their own sake when teaching them the weave. So like that is actually perpetuated. Also, there's that whole conversation we had at one point about the wise woman and the fireballs that they were throwing, because they were sort of commenting on the other woman, like, why are you using your hands, sort of thing, like Avienda sitting on the back of the horse riding away from the Waygate as the Shawnchan was spilling through it, like just channeling multiple fire faster than she could have moved her hands. She's shooting like machine gun fire, small fireballs through the Waygate. So yeah, the wise ones, at least we know, have mentioned it. We've, like you said, Job, spoken about how some of the Aes Sedai have said it's easier to do with your hands, but it's unnecessary. So yeah, definitely not necessary.
A culture is born. You pass something down from someone, and all of a sudden you've got a tower full of women that have to circle their hands to stir their tea, like in that cartoon.
Yes. I also am a much bigger fan of the idea of the weaves just happening, like them standing there, not moving at all and just making shit happen. That to me sounds or feels more powerful.
No, I like the idea when magic is done that there's in a chant or a little incantation or a little bit of rubbing of powders, and that's just
Tale of Newt. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like they should have actually had a little pouch of like powders and dusts and stuff.
Well, you can write your own
completely
series.
Undermines the concept of the one power and channeling weaves.
I know, but it just...
Vil, I've got great news for you. There are thousands of books out there and stories that have exactly that system of magic in it.
Well, it's kind of like, let's watched The Fifth Element last night. We're chatting about it in the Discord channel. So I was like, oh, shit, I'll watch it. And at the end, spoilers, when they put the stones around the Fifth Element, they have to literally drop dirt on it for earth, and they have to put fire on top of it. So you have to... They also there's weaves that come out of the stones, but you have to add a little bit of bone dust and a little bit of fire.
To kickstart them.
Yeah, just to kickstart the reaction.
What a good movie, man. It's so good.
It was fun. I wouldn't call it... I'm not such a huge fan of it. That Ruby Rose, whatever his name is, character is too much for me. But
that Chris Tucker's character?
Chris Tucker.
That's hard. That's hard watching. But the rest of it's very good.
Rightio. Should we carry on with Gerald's massive email?
Oh, Gerald's not done yet. Oh, shit. Okay.
No. Gerald says that with Anaya murmuring those things to Moiraine during the test, I wonder if the Aes Sedai could also do it during battle. Like they're making a fireball and throwing it at some Trollocs, and as they throw it, they just shout out, "Fireball!" Then it flies out, and when it hits the Trolloc and explodes, the fireball is shouting, "Fireball!" That would be really cool. Or they could have it say, "Gotcha!" or "Kapow!"
I really hope that is the case.
It's weak.
Well, it is a bit different in the story. Like in the test, Anaya is weaving a specific weave of spirit and placing it on Egwene and murmuring the words and imprinting them on Egwene's mind with spirit so that they are retained during the test. So for Aes Sedai to do that, they would have to weave a spirit weave on the Trolloc while preparing the fireball, and then when the fireball goes, it can say something in their head as the fireball hits them.
I would spin the spirit weave on the fireball. You'd have to definitely two weaves. You'd have to do the fireball, and then you put the spirit weave on the fireball so that when it explodes, it says something.
Or makes a cool sound.
Yeah, like a loudspeaker. Exactly.
Gerald continues. The two tests, one to become accepted and one to become Aes Sedai. I think the accepted one is to prove that the person has the mental fortitude to throw away their old lives and dedicate themselves to the Aes Sedai. And the second test is to show they're good enough to actually be Aes Sedai, which is why the accepted test is more emotionally charged and the Aes Sedai one is more, can you complete this task under pressure? Sure, I would just say that also for the accepted test, it's not just your old life, but any potential future as well. So like Nynaeve, imagines herself as Queen of Malkieri with Lan, and they have kids. And Egwene, in her accepted test, she's Amyrlin's seat, and in a place that gets attacked. So it is that sacrifice. Can you turn away from these tempting past or present or future lives to dedicate yourself to being an Aes Sedai? And then the Aes Sedai test is more about remaining calm under pressure while distracted. So like the emotional charge of Elida's contribution to the final test was meant as a test of distraction, not dedication, although it would take that to remain undistracted and focused on the task at hand. So it's quite devious and noted as such by all of those involved. Gerald has more to say. He says, now thinking about the response to healing and how people eat lots and lots of food. In this case, Moiraine eats 3 chickens and a loaf of bread. Do you think in the act of healing, somehow you are able to digest food faster? Because there's only so much food you can fit inside your stomach before it's full. So maybe healing rapidly increases how fast your digestive system works so that you can eat 3 chickens without it exploding.
Exactly.
Well,
just boosts your metabolism.
Were they large chickens or were they tiny? I mean, some chickens...
I don't think she ate 3 chickens.
She didn't. Matt did. Yes. And Matt is a big guy, right? Matt's tall, even by the book standards, which features a lot of tall people. He's only a little bit shorter than Rand.
I mean,
and he was healed from the Shadar Logoth dagger, right? Not a couple of bruises and welts and stuff from the Aes Sedai.
I'm sure
test.
Villy could put away 3 roast chickens.
In my 20s, I can eat 3 chickens
easy.
for lunch.
100%,
Easy.
Yes. Yes. So I don't think like the healing weave isn't altering your body physically. So not like making your stomach capable of holding more food or like increasing your metabolism. It is using your body's energy to heal itself. That's at least the explanation that Moiraine and some of the other healers give, right? That's why you are so hungry, because your body is actually doing the work. It's just that the weave is helping your body speed that along. So yes, faster metabolism, certainly. And this raised in me like an interesting idea. Could this help you lose weight? If you're burning calories, healing yourself faster than you're consuming calories to replenish that energy, technically you should be burning fat.
Yep. You're losing weight.
All right. So you would have to be in a caloric deficit. So you'd have to get healed and then eat less food to recover than what your body used to heal itself.
Yes.
That's why the greens, I imagine all the greens are just like skinny and like sinewy muscle. Constantly battered and bruised from their practicing and training and whatnot. So yeah.
Unless the healing comes from a pool in your body, avoided magic repayment. Like everything in biology needs repayment. So when the weave settles on you and you're healed, it creates a debt within you that needs to be repaid. That couldn't be taken from somewhere else. And your eating is repaying that debt to the source.
I think you're on the verge of developing a new magic system here, and you should be taking notes and combining it with your bone dust and Eye of Newt and come up with a...
Luckily, we're recording this, Villy.
Yeah, work it into the D&D campaign you're busy working on.
Oh, my brain is just... I've got so many things
crossing. You've lost him now.
Blurring the lines.
Focus, Villy. Focus. One thing at a time.
All right. I'll bring it back into focus by saying that Gerald just finishes up his email saying, keep up the good work, fellas. Gerald. Thank you so much, Gerald. Right, that's it for callbacks. So speaking of good work, let's get on with the work of going through what happened previously on Blood and Ashes. While the Accepted are all out in the field, Moiraine and Siuan are set to copying the names of newborns from the Accepted's lists, and some of them are barely legible. This gives them an opportunity to keep their own shorter list of possible dragons reborn. A steady stream of sisters start asking Moiraine, with varying degrees of subtlety, about being Queen of Cairhien, since she has a claim to the now vacant throne after Laman's death. Moiraine sees what is happening and is desperate to attain the shawl so she can get the hell out of Dodge before they set her up on the Sun Throne. In the next couple of days, both Moiraine and Siuan are set to deliver messages from the Amyrlin to a small group of sisters whom they quickly figure out are being tasked with finding the Dragon Reborn. They try to spy on the Amyrlin study to figure out who's being enlisted, but are busted by the Keeper. Siuan and Moiraine continue to practice for the test for the shawl with the help of Myrrell and some other accepted, but one evening Elida walks into the room and decides she's going to quote-unquote help them train. Her distractions are brutal, leave the girls bruised and crying, only to be healed by Elida the next morning. The other accepted are horrified, and eventually Marion, the mistress of novices, finds out and tells them it won't be happening anymore and that Elida has been set a penance. A couple of days later, Moiraine is summoned to attempt the test for the shawl. In the bowels of the White Tower, Moiraine is met with the Oval Terangriel and a sister from each Arger to attend the test. As part of the ritual, Moiraine has to disrobe and is immediately worried about her notebook with a list of names being found. She enters the Terangriel and starts the tests. Her final test is a particularly cruel one in which her deceased father is breaking the news to her that her mother is dying, but Moiraine stands strong and completes the test. It seems it was Elida representing the Reds that devised this particularly cruel test, and the other sisters are aware. She's healed and sent to her room for a night of contemplation before the true raising the next day. When she gets to her rooms, Myrrell tells her Siuan has also been summoned, so Moiraine waits up for her. When Siuan returns and reveals she passed as well, they are giddy with excitement. So much so, Siuan convinces Moiraine to play one last prank on Elida before being raised. She has a bunch of mice that they will set in Elida's bed. The next morning, Moiraine and Siuan are raised as Aes Sedai, swear the 3 oaths, and choose the Blue Arger. The oath rod's effect is striking. When they reach the Blue Arger quarters, they are met by all the sisters of the Blue Arger, but are quickly instructed on how things really work in the White Tower. Edith is revealed as the head of the Blue Arger, called the First Selector. Siuan and Moiraine are shown to their rooms next to each other. They change and go to Edith's room, where they are told about the power hierarchy that all sisters follow regardless of Arger. On the way back to their room, Siuan is scooped up by Satalia, who they soon learn is the head of the Blue Arger's Eyes and Ears network. Because of her knack for solving puzzles and spotting patterns, Siuan is chosen to study under Satalia. Moiraine has also been given a job to manage the gold disbursements promised by the Amyrlin's bounty. This job will trap her in the tower until the Hall can figure out how to put her on the Sun Throne. She knows she has to escape. Which brings us to the first of today's chapters It's chapter 13, called Business in the City. Let's get down to business, Willie, with a chapter summary.
Money for nothing and the dresses aren't free. Done. Okay.
True fact.
Business in the city. Point of view, Moiraine Sedai. You like what I did there? And their location is still in the tower. It's the morning after. There was some healing done. Then there was some breakfast. And the serving and a la carte options for Aes Sedai is a lot better than being an accepted, because you actually can order whatever you want. You want a steak? Get a steak. So better seats, cushioned seats, very, very nice. It's good to level up in the tower. Yeah. Siuan had some fish, and Moiraine had some vegetable stew for breakfast, which just flattened my spirits. I mean, you can have bacon and eggs, and you have vegetable stew. What is wrong with both of them? Fish and vegetable stew. Anyway, there has been quite a few more sisters that's approached Moiraine regarding her thoughts of taking the throne, which is making her panic. After breakfast, they get their allowance for the year, which is not a small sum of money. It's 1,000 golds. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with 1,000 gold. And Moiraine, she got probably 10 times that value in a personal bank account. Goes, I'll go see my banker and go and sort this out. She's used to money. Siuan soils herself at the thought of having that much money. She's never touched that much money. Her dad in his entire life never made that amount of money. This is a lot of wealth. Moiraine then promptly books a sedan chair and then is off to see the banker. When she reaches the fancy southerly styled shop that looks like a manor, bank, the doorman receives her, hands her over to Elaine Dormail. Is that right?
Sure.
Dormail, yes.
Dormail.
Who's the family banker, been the family banker for a very long time. In fact, this is the daughter of the banker that dealt with the father, yada, yada, yada. congratulations is offered with wine, and she already assumes she's there to bank her annual wage, which is a correct assumption. Then asks her about the letter that she sent 9 days ago. This is now the banker to Moiraine, of a man called Rhys Gorthanes that had come there requesting the banking logs. It's like a taxman, auditor, that came a knocking, but she recognized that the letter was a fraud and that the signatory to it was not correct, and swiftly arrested him with her own guards. But said man had escaped. Now, Moiraine doesn't let go that she, or doesn't give that she hasn't received the letter at the tower. No one's informed of this, and tells her that she can take appropriate recompense from her account. Again, saying there's a lot of money in that account. Moiraine is not short on Tom, I reckon. And
No.
thanks her for her services. Back at the tower, Moiraine starts asking questions because it's now an appropriate time to have dresses made. And the next day, both Moiraine and Siuan takes a taxi to Mistress Al-Kohima, who is a Damani seamstress of the highest regard. And long stories, fancy dresses, a lot of materials. She plays a bit of a game of Dice Daimar with Moiraine around the color of the dresses, where Moraine's like dark blue, that's it, square, box, simple. And she's like, no, lighter blue. A little bit more showy. How about a lower bodice? Or was that the word for it? Anyway, she then overhears Siuan haggling about the cost of wool and pulls her aside, sets her straight, says, listen, you've got gold. You stop haggling now. These are the best dresses. You'll look like a sister. Treat her with a touch of deference. But it's too late. The dresses' price has already gone up because Siuan was being a cheapskate. And she said, you will do the same for the shoemaker, the shift maker, the hairdresser. This is a big day of Aes Sedaiing up, when you allowed access to the weapons store, you go and spend the gold and you get the armor, you get the chainmail, you get the gauntlets, the everything.
This is a much more positive light than I thought you would be looking at what I thought you would almost certainly refer to as another shopping chapter.
This is cool shopping. This is Moiraine and
You like
Siuan.
dresses and embroidery.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Embroidery. Look at my protea that Sophus embroidered for me. You see?
Oh,
amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have to put a photo of that in the Discord
The
channel.
dresses price ranged from 1 gold to 10 golds. 1 for a fine wool dress and 10 for a silk with embroidered fancy cocktail dress. I don't know. Dresses are expensive in real world as well. I think dresses go for like $50,000 now. I think.
You could have said any big number there, Phil. We would go, okay.
And yet, when Moritz is our DM in a campaign, we have to pay
you
1
get
gold
1
for a
gold.
beer. For a beer.
Yes. What if... Yeah.
Times are tough in Faerun.
Anyway, when everything is done, Moiraine just adds in another bunch of dresses, all with divided skirts for riding, sturdy traveling dresses that are not to be sent to the tower. They'll be collected. So she's already planning her go back.
Oh, yes.
Escape kit is being gotten ready. And that's basically the end of that chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's getting ready because she's got all the sisters asking her in the tower, and then this whole episode at the bank where this banker had detained a man that was asking about her and stuff. She can tell, oh shit, like the hall is all over. There's a talk that you mentioned, the letter that was sent to her that the hall had held back. The banker had sent her a letter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the letter was sent. She played coy and said, okay, well, just, let's discuss it all
Remind
over
me
again.
what it says.
Remind
as if
me
I've
what
never
it
seen
said
it
again.
before.
Many letters in my life.
Because the hall intercepted it. That's a federal offence. Mail tampering.
Well,
Yeah,
yes.
somebody call the feds. I'm wondering, that's my thought. Did the Hall intercept it or did the Black Aja intercept it?
No, I don't think the Black Archer has
Black
got
Archer
in the
hall.
this hall.
Specifically, some guy. Who sent that guy?
I think the Hall.
Really? You don't think it's a Black Aja thing? I'm like these women now, just jumping to Black Aja. They're everywhere,
Do you
under
remember
the table.
the Aes Sedai are
Yeah.
devious and quite brazen in how they will interfere. I mean, they have, royalty assassinated and that sort of stuff. Like this is, I think the Hall very much would be stepping in. I don't know what interest the Black Aja would have specifically in Moiraine.
No, this is for me not a Black Archer thing. This is money and politics. If the hall and the tower is going to back her for the throne, they want to make sure that she can fund her own campaign. Or are they going to have to fund it as well? Therefore, they need to look into her finances and trying to get her own established background for how much money she has.
This is one of many moves and preparations that Moiraine is perceiving the Hall to make. She says that like if this is something that they're doing, they've probably done a bunch of other stuff she hasn't noticed yet. So I think they're just trying to keep tabs on her, like literally making sure she's not withdrawing all her money and is a flight risk, or even looking into her affairs, like how much money does she have? Like how much are we going to have to give her? Like they're just inserting themselves in her life because they want to control her, and by virtue of controlling her, control her.
Any Jesuit.
I think it's a bit sloppy. Like the banker immediately goes, "This can't be true." First of all, the Amyrlin wouldn't send this random dude to come in with this letter. They would send
Well, it wasn't the Amyrlin, it was another.
Wasn't the letter by
high
Tamra?
clerk no, it wasn't by Tamra.
Well, the banker says that luckily she knows the Amyrlin's signature. So she noticed that the Amyrlin's signature is on this thing, but it did not come from the Amyrlin.
Yeah. So like it seemed, and I think that's in the chapter she mentions they wouldn't send this man, like specifically.
Something like
Why would
that.
the Aes Sedai hire this man to go, or send this man? They would come.
I mean, they have agents. They have eyes and ears, and they have agents working for them, because you can't always just be obviously executing an Aes Sedai plan. Like when the Aes Sedai move around, they are very noticeably Aes Sedai.
Or
So if they want to be more subtle, they have to have people that are not
it
Aes Sedai
is
do their
not the
bidding for them.
tower at all. It could be someone else that is vying for the throne, playing Dice Daimar to see is she busy drawing money and starting a campaign and a move
Could be House
for the
Ryoton.
throne. It could be House Ryoton. So there's many reasons why someone would want to know what's the logs to her money. I
But
mean,
Moiraine has already picked up the clues that the hall or the tower at least is angling for her to go in that direction. So she's making an assumption here that it is the hall. It's, either way, whether it's the hall or not, doesn't make a difference. She knows that she needs to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
I was hoping that the name of the guy would give something away. Bath
He uses
was
real
close
name?
to Barthanes. Rhys Gorthanes.
Yeah, I pronounced it Gorthanes.
Gorthanes.
Yeah, maybe that's just like, my name is Rhys Gorthanes. He almost spills the beans and then quickly makes the change. Did you have anything else about that chapter that you wanted to add, Joe?
No, only that the great barracuda, the most commonly encountered species, could reach lengths of 2 meters.
Yowzers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Pretty great.
70
I don't have a
kilos.
2 meter long leg. I don't know about you guys.
Okay,
So,
the great
small
barracuda can reach.
The
There's two
most
qualifiers in
commonly
there.
encountered species. So when you talk
I
about
do want to bring
barracudas, this is what you
one thing up because barracuda, though a great sporting fish, it always sounds like silverpike is a fish that is being caught to consume because you have it in the net or whatever. I want to bring your attention to South African snook, which is a
that I can agree
leg
on.
length fish that is silver with very sharp teeth. They can inflict some serious damage, but also a great fish to eat.
Never been a
The
snook
best.
fan. What?
Really?
The best.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're not okay in the head, Jody.
Snook. never
Bright
been-
snook with a bit of jam.
Apricot
Jam?
jam over
Oh,
it.
my
Really?
dad used to make it with jam as well, and we were always like, "What are you doing, man?"
No, that's the stuff.
Apricot jam on your fish on the braai, like Jesus Christ. Anyway,
It's a very, very
Bit knew what he
salty
was
fish.
doing.
It creates that
Yeah.
balance. If you take even honey with a bit of lemon juice, you get a
give me
little
a geelback
acidity, you
any
get
day.
the sweetness. Geelback's great.
that's better.
Okay, let's come back to the Wheel of Time for a minute.
Yeah, all right.
What
That's the
else?
program.
I just had one more note here. An interesting note from Moiraine on the perception of power. The Sun Palace had taught her that, quote, power often grew from others deciding you already had power, and an appearance of wealth could give that. Good notes for Rand and our other budding young leaders. It smacks a bit of like some of the guidance that Fail's been giving Perrin. Like, you need to look the part, right? Like, power and control is in a large part from perception. So people need to perceive you as being in control and having power, and then they will just believe it.
Power resides where men believe power resides. I think that's a
What's that from?
mod. That's from Game of Thrones as well.
Okay. Well, there we
Yes.
I thought it was from House of Cards.
go. It could be from any of those
Take
things
your
because it's
pick.
true.
Yes.
And my final note was just like, I like how sharp Moiraine is, like ordering 20 dresses to make whoever's monitoring her feel like, oh, if she's buying 20 dresses, you know, she's not going anywhere. No one's going to be traveling with 20 dresses like that many. So she's thinking to herself specifically, I'm going to put in these orders. She's doing everything to make
Yeah.
it look like she's settling in when it's anything but.
Fucking rich people. Like to her, like, I'll waste all these. I'll burn them all. I don't give a shit. It's only money.
All right, Jody, let's have a
Yeah.
look now at chapter 14 called Changes. What are these changes exactly?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to read my notes. Let's see. Oh yes, attaining the shawl only means more learning, and this is something I wanted to bring up when you first said that in Gerald's email about the tests and what they prepare you for, and the Aes Sedai test prepares you to be an Aes Sedai. And what we're learning these chapters is like, nah. The gaining the shawl only prepares you to start the real learning to be Aes Sedai. Like, you don't know shit yet. So Moiraine and Siuan have to now sit through more and more hours and hours of instruction, mostly on Blue Aja customs delivered by Rafella. Absolute shit. Cuck. Color of clothing, what jewelry they can wear, blah, blah, blah. Like, it can't be this, you can't do that, whatever. Which Ajas support which on which topic. There's some like internal politics that you got to know about as well. Who's got beef with who, and who's back against another Aja. So you know when the reds and the yellows throw down, the blues have got who's back. You know, nobody. You got to know these things. They also have more lessons with the one power. There's some stuff that they were not taught, like learning the water bond, for example, and some secret blue weaves that only the blues know. So which makes Moiraine think like, oh, if they have secret weaves, then the Reds have secret weaves, and everybody's got secret weaves. I want to know the secret weaves. And she also mentions her secret weave. She had a secret weave that she learned before coming to the tower, which was... Anybody?
Really? I found it.
I can't remember right now. It was something mundane.
Eavesdropping.
That seems a common one.
She mentions in this chapter that she told the sisters that her first weaves were lighting candles in a little ball of light, but it's not the actual, because she's thinking about, oh, they've got secrets, I've got a secret, everyone's got secrets, and her secret. In the last paragraph of the Eye of the World, she's observing someone talking, and she uses a Caesira as a focal point, and she's eavesdropping on their conversation. And in that paragraph, she mentions that was the first weave she ever learned. So the evidence of her first weave is in the end of the Eye of the World.
I wonder what that says about you as a person.
Well, she actually explains it.
Iranian and a blue.
Exactly. She said in the Sun Palace, you know, like that's gold. Like, you know, like being able to hear other people's things and know secrets and stuff, because everyone's got secrets in the Sun Palace.
Especially
That's
if
what it
you
is.
are nobility out of royal bloodlines.
With zero scruples, apparently.
Does she weave like a glass out of air and put it against the ear and
Put it on the wall.
door? That's what it is. Right. So blue weaves, secret weaves. Okay, and of course the non-one power trick of ignoring the cold, which I was very disappointed with. I think this should have been left a mystery. It's a breathing exercise. Boo. Like Star Wars and midichlorians. We don't really need to know why people are force sensitive.
Yeah,
I don't
you
need
pop
to
the bubble.
know. Yeah, should have just left it. But anyway, that's the meditation thing, breathing, focus on a point behind your belly, and make sure your breath's
When I was
all the
listening to
same
it, I was
length.
like, "Oh, it's a meditation," and then a couple of lines later, she calls it a meditation.
This is
It's like
100%
explicitly
totally a meditation.
stated. Yeah.
So you got to be meditating 24/7. Like, what? Okay.
That just means that you can do it yourself, Jody. You can ignore the cold. You can ignore the heat. Don't need to sweat.
I'm sweating
I'd
right now.
rather just sweat.
Yeah, it's 27 degrees. It's quite muggy, actually. All right. Time passes in the tower. During this chapter, lots of time is passing. Days and days and days. It gets quite monotonous. And now it's the Feast of Lights. The Aes Sedai get invited to balls, which they are happy to attend. Not all of them, obviously. But, Aes Sedai are people too. They're humans. They like to have fun and go dancing and have parties. And they all get their dresses and get all dressed up and head out. Moiraine throws her invitations into the fire. Huge risk in Dysdale Marsh, she thinks, and I think, Alarand move. Yeah, he pulls that off later as well when he's in Cairhien, throwing his invitations into the fire. She gets her first dresses delivered on the first day of the festival. Tamore, I'm going to call her Tamore, probably thinking she'll want to use them for the balls, So, yeah, good. This woman's a real, proper businesswoman. One day, Siuan comes to her room and flops down on her chair, and she's angry at Satalia, of course. She's angry at Satalia. Trying to lie in exaggeration, she finds out that she can't and almost chokes to death on her own words. The woman is working her too hard. That's what she believes. Moiraine tells her, hey man, lines are hard. Deal with it, basically. Moraine's job is easier, but not what she's expected. She was hoping that she'd at least, be distributing the bounty, maybe getting on a horse and riding out and giving some gold to some people. But no, she's literally 3 hours a day in a windowless room signing requisition forms, basically. So the clerks are doing all the paperwork and she has to review them and just put a stamp on it, basically. It's sucky work. The only thing keeping her sane is that she plans on running away and doing her own searching for the Dragon Reborn. She's just biding her time. She's got her dress things. She's got her banking. She's got plans in the background. So on the second day of the Feast of Lights, Elid is called to be tested, but does not come out of the Ta'angreal. No one says anything. They just clear out her rooms and carry on. However, the Aes Sedai do give them a wide berth in some sort of unofficial mourning period. Which makes me think, now that we know from our last chapter that the Aes Sedai are controlling those weaves that they are going through, Aes Sedai totally killed Elid, which is why they don't talk about it. It's like, oops, went a little too hard on that one. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. So totally killed her, and that's why they just shut up about it. Moving on. Lelaine, even inviting Siuan and Moiraine to tea several times. So to get a really different perspective of Lelaine here in this book, eh? I think Lelane's just... Maybe she is not such a bad person, but when she's just paired up with Romanda, it just brings out the worst in her,
Yeah.
Exactly. She's not that bad a person. Some friendships are rekindled, but others aren't. Now that they've become Aes Sedai, like other people that were, raised ahead of them, obviously they can't be friends anymore. So some of them are, rekindled. Others are not. Eventually, Tamara's searchers start leaving the tower. She notices first Malin leaves, then Karene, then Aisha, Ludus, and Valera. So she's like, they're going, they're starting, they're doing something. Because they don't know that she knows, but she's noticed. So as much as Siuan complains about Satalia, she keeps going to her study earlier and earlier and leaving later and later. But the longer Moiraine stays in the tower, the more she worries that she'll be forced onto the throne of Cairhien. They bake their pies for Eldra. If you recall, she was the sixth lady to kiss her, so they need to make some pies for her. Moiraine sucks at making pies. It's no bueno. Swans are super tasty, but do require that Eldra need healing afterwards, like with a capital H. So yeah, nice tasty fish pie, but maybe the fish was a bit old. I don't know what she did, because I don't think that she would cook with old fish. She knows
Didn't
fish.
one of them make the woman rush to the latrines or something? There was an immediate
That was her
effect.
fish pie. Yeah, because Moraine's pie was one bite and she went, no, thank you very much. But she did like the fish pie, and I think maybe she just overindulged. Whatever it was in that fish pie did not sit well with her.
Wait. It different flavors, different customs, different areas.
Yeah.
It could be just an incredibly spicy fish pie that just upset her constitution so heavily. Some people can't handle heat and spice. And I mean,
Maybe.
case in point,
Some
anyone
ice
that
peppers.
goes to an Indian restaurant in Melbourne next day is tough.
Maybe that's just Melbourne. Where am I?
Chili heaven.
Yes, Chili Heaven. Someone was requiring healing. Eldra. All right, so now, a week after Elit's test, Sheriam is tested and passes. She also joins the Blues, and it is Moraine's duty to put her shawl on in the ceremony. She's like she's the newest, so it's her job. Swan can't be there because she's locked, in the study by Satalia, who won't let her go for 1 second. But she does manage to sneak out and steal 6th place in the line of kisses. So now she gets some pies because she knows, like everyone, that Sheriam is a very good cook and loves to bake. So sneaky. Moiraine and Swan, rekindle their friendship with Sheriam, for example. And Swan even wants to bring her into their secret plans for the Dragon Reborn. But Moraine's like, no. You know Sheriam is the biggest gossip in the tower. This is a really bad idea. Also, we know future Black Archer, so good move, Moiraine. There's eventually talk among the sisters that there might be a resurgence in the tower with so many new sisters passing the test, but it's too little, too late. Like 3 out of 4 in the last 2 weeks, Elid being the 4th one that didn't make it, have passed. But in that time, only 1 novice was tested and failed and sent out of the tower, and not 1 new novice was added to the registrar of novices. So 3 days later, while Moiraine is having breakfast, Ryma enters to announce that Tamra has died in her sleep. She feels disgust in herself, as her first thought is like, oh, maybe this new Amyrlin will release me from my very boring task. So she decides to give herself a penance. She attends Tamra's funeral, as do many other Aes Sedai, in a rather salacious dress, as a self-penance for her selfish thoughts, and people notice. She even steps forward to say a few words, driving the point home, but also because she really did admire Tamra and wanted to honor her in her very revealing dress. She wears her scandalous dress the rest of the day, and at night burns it. Okay, you see? People with too much money, just burning dresses. After a few days, Siren Vayu from the Grey Arger is raised as Amyrlin, and she is bad news. Everyone was shocked, for example, that she did not choose the red when she was raised to the shore, but she does choose a mistress of a novices and a keeper, both from the reds. So there has some affinity there for the reds. Some of the stuff she does, she fires all the male clerks instantaneously for made-up reasons that they looked wrong, or they looked at some novices or something. But no one says anything. Everyone keeps their mouths shut. 3 sisters are exiled for a year. Others are birched in the traitor's court, stripped naked and tied down to a triangle and birched like hardcore shit. Soon after some birchings, Moiraine is invited to watch these birchings. Moiraine goes to Siren's study to ask to be relieved of her duties regarding the bounty. Siren agrees. It is a waste of time, but she must stay put, as they have need of her, as she knows. So the tower has informed the new Amyrlin, of course, that they have plans for Moiraine. So Moraine's like, God damn it, everybody knows, everyone's in on it. I gotta get out of here as fast as possible. She gets back to her rooms to tell Swan just that, what is happening, and that she will be riding out. Swan will know where she's going and in what order. There's no time to waste. They both have their little books. They've made plans. They know where and when and how. And she preps for her journey. Her little go bag, as Willie says. Light enough that she'll look like she's only be going for the day. But comprehensively packed enough to help her reach the borderlands. She's heading north. She meets a few sisters on her way out, like Sheriam and even Edith, telling them that Siren ordered her to stay in the tower because they're like, hey, where are you going? I'm just going for a little ride. And like, really? She's like, no, yeah, I was ordered to stay inside the city and I will not cross any of the bridges because I do not want to get a birching. Edith gives her a little look like, I see what you're doing. But being a fellow blue, she's like, you go, girl. I'm sure in her mind, she's like, yeah, I know what you're up to. But she has no intention of crossing any bridges. And heads for the docks. But first, She has to go pick up Arrow from the stalls. Stalls? Stables. That's the word. Stopping at the bank to make a withdrawal. And at Tamore's to pick up the second batch of secret dresses. Her riding dresses. Neither woman gives her any problem. They know the look of an Aes Sedai on a mission. And this is not their first rodeo. She had left her shawl in the room and now takes off her serpent ring. Ha! Perfect disguise. And again, one of these infallible disguises. And heads to North Harbor. They load Arrow by Boom onto a ship heading north. She speaks to the dock mistress about it. I'm skipping along here. The ship is Blue Wing. And while Moiraine is looking at the docks, she sees a man approach the dock mistress she had just been speaking to. She's pointing in Moraine's direction, so Moiraine embraces the source to get the binoculars vision, to get a better look at him, and it's the same man that the banker described. Gormanes, the not fake Kyrenian? Whoever he is. She fixes his face in her memory. He now knows the name of her ship, its destination, and all the stops along the way. She's going to have to keep her eyes peeled for this guy. Danger is on its way. Luckily, Blue Wing is a fast ship, not only in name and reputation, but in practicality. And she's able to get a good head start. As the ship leaps out of the harbor, she's now in direct disobedience of the Amyrlin, but will accept any punishments Siuan dishes out if she ever catches her. Which I believe she doesn't. Haven't read the end of the book, but don't figure she does. But now, all she can feel is freedom. She's out of the tower, she's starting her mission, she's also free of the Sun Throne, biggest thing. And by the time they find her, someone else will have been crowned. She's off on an adventure as grand as any Aes Sedai has ever undertaken. I don't know. Yeah, some pretty big adventures that Aes Sedai have undertaken in the last 3,000 years.
I guess finding the Dragon Reborn is pretty important.
Yeah. I mean, the Aes Sedai existed the last time a dragon was around, so that was also a pretty big thing. But anyway, we get it. In recent memory, for you, in your perspective, it's a pretty big fucking adventure.
Yeah.
End of chapter.
Sure. Willem, did you have anything you wanted to say about chapter 14?
Moiraine got out. That's it. She got a sneaky riding dresses since she's getting the shit out of Dodge.
Did you notice the chapter icon?
And you always say that,
obviously.
but I don't.
Both of you.
I look at it sometimes, and then I'm like, "This is new." I don't know. This is a lot of new chapter icons.
A lot of new ones in
Weird
here.
ones,
That's right.
yeah.
This one is a wooden triangle, sort of tied together at the corners. I was like, "What the fuck?"
No,
And
that's
then
a
that
birching
line
triangle.
being tied up to the triangle and getting birched. Yeah, pretty rough.
Is this the Amyrlin that sort of spearheads the vileness?
She doesn't spearhead the violence. No, the Red Arger spearheads the violence.
But I mean, she kicks out all the men. Like, she seems a true man hater.
Yeah, everyone's
It's not
surprised she didn't choose red, so maybe
Yeah.
she is affiliated with them, or at least supportive of them, or...
I think it wasn't it Bonwyn?
Bonwyn long ago?
Yeah, maybe Bonwyn was... Oh, yes, it was long ago. Because Bonwyn is one of the Red sisters that was... I looked up Bonwyn and Cadsuane because they are Reds that were replaced by Blues. So when talking about the old animosities between the Argers, I was trying to figure out why, because Moiraine also goes for animosities that they can't even remember. So Cadsuane was the Amyrlin seat when... what was the country that Manetheren, when Manetheren was still a nation. So Cadsuane, so there were two Reds that were stripped of stole and staff, whatever. So like they were stripped of the title of Amyrlin seat, two Reds, and both of them were replaced by Blues. The first one is Cadsuane, who arrived at the White Tower as a novice circa AB blah 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 during the Middle Years. For a short time, Cadsuane was regarded as the strongest potential channeler of her era. This prestige ended with the arrival of fellow novice Elan a. Carlan of Manetheren. While Tire records imply that Cadsuane and Eldrine quickly emerged as adversaries and that Cadsuane developed an adolescent jealousy of Eldrine's overwhelming beauty and greater strength in the power. Specific details of their animosity are unknown, though it is believed that because she had a plain appearance, Cadsuane bent all of her time towards her studies in an effort to become more prestigious than Eldrine, but was never quite able to surpass her rival. Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Eldrine marries King Aemon. She becomes the Queen of Manetheren when Aemon is sending all the messages to the nations to come and help because he realized that by Manetheren helping everyone else, they diminished their own defenses and the Shadow was planning an attack against them. Cadsuane actively disrupts the sending of those messages and aid reaching Manetheren, eventually resulting in the downfall of Manetheren because of this novice time rivalry with the Queen of Manetheren.
Holy shit, that is... Yeah, I know a bit of that history, but now there's more to it.
Yes, I mean, so she was... The blue sister that replaces her was unnamed. Like, I can't find any evidence of what her name was. So it must just be, like, referenced somewhere. And then pretty soon, like a year later, another... I think a green takes the Amyrlin seat. Then the other red that was stripped of her stole and scepter was Bonwyn Moiraine, who had tried to control Arthur Hawkwing. So she was in Hawkwing's time. She was eventually also stripped of the stole and replaced by a blue who did really, really well and was loved. And here, her attempt at controlling Arthur Hawkwing as a puppet led to disaster. All the Aes Sedai were expelled from Hawkwing's empire and his armies put a 19-year-long siege on Tarvalon. For such catastrophe, Bonwyn was removed from power in FY992 and replaced with Deanne Ahriman from the Blue Arjo, who had uncovered damning evidence of Bonwyn's failures and mistakes. She was the last Amyrlin to be raised before from the Reds before Elida. Both of them had been Reds, blah, 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 and it was Bonwyn's replacement by a Blue that reignited the feud between the two Arjas, culminating in 1,000 years later with the questionable deposition of Siuan.
Yo, hold a grudge, eh? For 1,000 years. Yeah.
Another weird one that I thought about is she mentions tension between the Blues and the Yellows. And prominent Blue in these chapters, Lelaine. Prominent Yellow, Romanda. So I wonder if their rivalry had actually at this point already filtered into the Arjas, because Romanda is quite old and a sitter. Lelaine was also quite a senior sister. So I wonder if either their rivalry is because of the Arja rivalries, or it's something that they did. There's mention of like something that happened in Altara some 100 years ago. Could that have something to do with the kin and the knitting circle, like healers in Ibudar, because that's in Altara? Yeah, don't know. It's never mentioned explicitly. A lot of people have speculated about it, but just interesting that like you don't expect the Blues and the Yellows, both seemingly sort of altruistic in nature, especially the Yellows, to have that kind of beef with another quote-unquote good Arja.
And there's apparently like a little beef at the moment between the Whites and the Blues, but only the Whites know what the Blues did wrong. The Blues don't know what they did. And the Whites are like, well, if you don't know, we're not going to tell you.
Yeah. I learned a new word in this chapter. Accreted.
Yes, I was going to put it in my notes.
You can figure it out by context, like like reading how it's used. It's just accumulated, but never seen that before.
Accrued.
Yes.
Accreted? Secreted.
Yeah, the opposite of accreted is secreted.
Yes. Women for 200 years could not find a solution to the dwindling numbers. Really? No thought to perhaps accepting older novices? Even that topic comes up in these chapters when those other Aes Sedai are looking at Moiraine and like think, oh, maybe she's too old, or like there's an older woman in the inn in Canluum that can also channel, but the Aes Sedai are not even looking at her because she's too old. And then also, obviously, you've got the Black Arja actively working against the numbers in the tower growing. Then there's another sister mentioned here, Aideen Canford, that Moiraine thinks is, quote unquote, not arrogant despite being Andorran. So Moiraine already thinks that Andorrans are arrogant.
Yeah.
But she's actually still around in the books. She's with the rebel Aes Sedai. She's a blue Arger, so obviously she's with the rebels. She's certainly not at the tower.
No.
What else do we have here? Duhara is one of the Aes Sedai mentioned here. She's Black Arger. She's later sent by Elaida to be Elaine's advisor, and that does not go down well. Elaine refuses her a room in the palace and recommends that she go stay at an inn. Yeah, Elaine. And there's another Aes Sedai here, Amira, who was sent from the tower to kidnap Rand and died at Dumai's Wells.
Yeah, that's what you get.
That's what you get. All right, that's it from me. So we can move ahead to chapter 15 called Into Canluum. Vil, can you get us into a chapter recap, please?
I sure can do that. We are in the point of view of Lan. Nice welcome change. We also are entering Canluum. Cancun. Anyway, Lan is best pleased that he's now finally in the north. He feels that it's been too long. There's rumors going about that there is a man that can channel, but Lan doesn't give these things much thought. His fight is not with men that can channel. They don't look disheveled. They look well-traveled. If you can think about a 2-year backpacking excursion where you spend your money on food and accommodation, you don't particularly buy new shirts. You get holes and you live with it, and that's what they are looking like at the moment. However, the steel is clean, well taken care of, sharp. So it's just the clothing that's taken a bit of a battering. It's been more than 2 years that Lan has been away from home now, and he feels that the south has made him soft. He's almost home. He needs the north. Canluum city surrounded by a very large, wide, dry moat that is fortified quite heavily, being a city that is quite north. It's sitting, looking at my map, it is nearly at the Mountains of Doom. So they are used to raids, Trolloc raids, I assume, and all the rest. So watchtowers, big walls, massive moat, a well-defended town. Bukama has gone silent, and Lan sees this as they ride in or ride towards the gate as a bad sign. Side note, there's a bit of history. Bukama has made some poor judgment calls in the past in this here city. A young guard recognizes Lan and does the Taisha Malkieri formal kneeling. Bukama takes offense. He's like, look at you. You don't get to claim that. Your hair's cut. You wear a silver. What was the sigil of the city? A wolf, stag or something, I think.
The chapter icon as well.
And takes quite offense of it. But Lan tells him, settle down. A senior officer makes his way out, Ser Roku, and he greets them as well. There is some history there as well. But Bukama swears a very hefty oath that he will behave in the city. And they are granted access, and they start moving in. As they start riding into town, Lan spots a couple of Aes Sedai in town. Lan is a bit worried that the Aes Sedai was there to do some warder wrangling. It seems to be a hotspot for them to find good warders, the North men. And
makes sense.
Well, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Lan does understand that with his title and his history, he would be well received by a lord of the land, Lord Marcassive, something.
Cool.
But that also comes at a price, because he would also be deemed a threat, because there's still people that would easily turn away from the Lords of the Lands and back Lan if he were to ever raise the banner. And that is not what he wants, so Hayloft will do, and the chapter ends there. Super quick one, super small one.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple quick ones here. Joe?
Just when Bukama gives that oath, everybody looks at him like, holy shit, man. Like, Bukama admitting he's wrong and promising to be good? Yeah. Something's off.
Bites him in the butt later.
Yeah. Bukama is he's feeling his age, I think. He's like, do you get the impression that he's like just giving up now? He's really like, oh. Like when in the previous episode, when there was like, yeah, I need a holiday, man. Like, I can't keep up with you anymore. Is this like the kind of feeling? Like, it's catching up with him.
Yeah.
And cut some slack. He just survived the Aiel War, didn't die.
Yeah.
And then took a holiday in the south, didn't die. And he's back home now. He's tired. He's well traveled.
Yeah, well, if he's tired.
He's missing the finest restaurants.
He's not going to get much rest here in Canluum.
No. Yeah. He's going to get some nice non-rest.
No one goes to Cancun
Lucky old
for
man.
rest.
Canluum is just like Cancun, exactly. It's the Cancun of the north.
And just like in Cancun, they mention here that the Kandori women wear wide trousers, much like a certain lady Birgitta Trehelian, which is why people think of her as Kandori. Right. Also notice that Beltane is not just in the Two Rivers.
It's all over.
It's all over. Did not realize that. I thought it was a Two Rivers thing.
Is it not like a midsummer festival or something?
It's the beginning of spring, I think.
Beginning of spring.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's the turning of the season.
It's typically a bit later in the north than it is in the south because for winter to break and spring to arrive, it takes a bit longer.
Right. It's not obviously not midsummer if it's happening in a book called New Spring. Think, Jody, think.
They mention a man who can channel. Who could that be? I went and I looked up all the false dragons. It's none of them. Doesn't fit the timeline.
It's also rumors. Like
maybe it's
rumors and other men can channel.
Rumors of men that can channel.
It's men channeling all the time.
Lan sort of dismisses it.
I wonder if it's Tom's nephew. Where was he?
Ooh, probably wasn't he Andor?
Yeah.
I mean, Tom's in Andor, but I don't know if his nephew's there.
Maybe
does
his
fit the
family
timeline.
is there. Does it?
But does he? Is he that famous? That news of him? Because
it doesn't fit the timeline. No,
I think maybe it's just rumors.
Yeah,
not anyone's, not a false dragon that we know.
What some people have thought is it could be a Shamal.
Yeah, he is prancing around all willy nilly, channeling here and there. Could be
killing heads of black Arjas and the like. What else did I have? Lan thinks to himself he was almost home, back to the Blight. Thinks of the Blight as home. Yeah. Dang. Mention here of lots of strange accidents. The birth of the dragon reborn, Taverin Ripples, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We just automatically, because it's been beaten into us for so long, strange accidents usually a sign of Taverin activity. And then here the line, Jody. Strangely enough, some of the finest clockmakers anywhere. So this book was published in 2004. So if this was in fact what you had read that put that little kernel of information in the back, you've been retaining that for 21 years.
I highly doubt that.
How can you retain that, but you cannot remember something from 2 days ago? This astounds me.
You are the same as me. You also forget.
Very understandable to me. Yes,
I forget everything.
Yeah,
there we go.
You use the we.
What were we talking about?
I don't
know. There's a guy here that we hear about that annoys Bukama, Nazar Karenin.
He wasn't the guy at the gate.
He's not the guard. He's a guy that they see soon after. Like he's just walking out of a place, and he's sort of also adopted like the fashion and stuff of the Borderlands. And I think he's abandoned the Malkieri. So anyway, something about him annoys Bukama. Later in the series, in Memory of Light, when the golden crane is flown, this guy joins Lan and follows him. Like he's one of the Malkieri that does join. Puts on the Hidori again, becomes full Malkieri. And follows
Well,
Lan into battle.
that is what I took out of this, that Bukama is really upset with Malkieri people, because I mean a lot of people would have fled the nation of Malkier and have just adopted other cultures. And
this young god
laws.
is younger than Lan, and Lan was an infant, right? So this guy wasn't even born when Malkier fell, and Bukama's still coming down on him.
Yeah.
You have no right to say Taishar Malkier, true blood of Malkier. You're a Kandori.
Take it easy, Bukama.
Yeah, just chill the fuck out.
No, leave Bukama.
Grumpy old man.
He's just spent 2 years on a horse, Jody. Do I have to go around the circle again?
No, please don't.
No, don't. Let's move ahead to chapter 16, called The Deeps. Joe, how about a deep dive into chapter 16, please?
Sure, I'll see what I've done here. Can't really see how many pages this is. Don't know how deep it is. Anyway, Lan. What are you going to say, Moritz?
I was going to say, I've only got 3 notes. It couldn't have been that deep.
No memory. I can't remember what I did in these notes yesterday. Lan and Bukama are well into the deeps. No palaces here. Only narrow, noisy streets filled with hawkers and street performers and pickpockets. Lan has to tuck his purse under his shirt, and I thought, not the kind of man that I thought would carry a purse, but sure. They struggle to find accommodation. There must be a convention in town, but eventually they find the Blue Rose. As they enter, the older, handsome innkeeper spots them and heads right over to grab Bukama by the ears, pull him down, and smooch him thoroughly. It's Rissel. They know each other. She's not just some random woman being super forward. Before Bukama can get a word out, she knocks him back with a right cross. They have some history, apparently, and she's not pleased she hasn't heard from him in 6 years. Just punches him in the face, and then grabs him by the ears and smooches him again. He's trying to ask for some rooms, but he's going to get a room. Not his own room. Don't have to ask, old man. Lan's old mate Rhine Venemar is there too. He is sure that Rissel will give them some rooms, and he'll get them a round of beers so long. In fact, he's already ordered the second he saw Lan walk in. Not Bukama. He's being dragged to Rissel's rooms for some sexy times instantaneously. Like when they sit down at the table with their beers, he looks around and Bukama's gone.
Yeah.
He's
Time to pay the piper.
Exactly. The serving maid that brings them their ales gives Lan one of those looks that more than imply that he'll be dragged to her rooms later. In fact, she's very vocal about it all the time. This is a thing with northern women, apparently, that we learn. The men do not approach them, they approach the men. Mm-hmm. I would like to visit this place, if I were a younger man and unmarried, of course. Ryan is also Malkieri, but has adopted the Arafellan ways. He has the braids and the little bells in his boots and all of that. Mm-hmm. He's older than Lan, 5 years older. So he was, you can't really say. He probably left at the same time. He was 5. If anything, maybe 4.
Lan was an infant.
Exactly. So, you can't blame him either. He doesn't remember Malkier. It's not like he grew up there. Everyone in the common room, is staring at them. They've made quite a scene upon their entrance. Lots of ear pulling and smooching and serving maids threatening to honor them until their legs give out. And also, men wearing the Hidori have a bad reputation. They are quick to the fisticuffs, apparently. Ryan and Lan do a little bit of catching up. Ryan's been guarding some wagon trains, but someone killed them, and now he can't go south. Some bullshit story. I didn't look it up, but I can smell a dark friend a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
Swigs his beer. Lan's been fighting the Aiel, blah, blah, blah. Ryan tells him he's surprised he isn't with Eden Errol. And that perks Lan's ears up. Why would I be with the Lady Errol? There's some history there too. She was his first lover, this Lady Errol. His Carnera, they have a name. And this is quite a thing for Malkieri. There's a whole ritual about it. And the first one always has the strings to your heart forever, I suppose, until you get married. I don't know if it lasts forever. That would be weird.
Yeah, super weird. The whole arrangement is weird.
Don't tell Nynaeve that.
Yes, and I thought about Nynaeve plenty of times. What's her name? Carnera, Lady Arel. She's also raised the golden crane. That's why Ryan is like, why aren't you with her? Having raised the golden crane. And Lan's like, this is news to me. Ryan tells him they're like, dude, like right now, there are 200, 300 men in Canluum right here, right now, ready to follow her. I mean, you, into the Blight to like bring Malkieri back from the dead. Lan's not so on board with this idea. He likes his little private war. He's not trying to resurrect dead lands. So he's like, I need to go check on my horse, and just leaves, makes some excuse. Out in the stables, Lan muses over his history with Eden and freaks out a groom with his hard stares and sword hilt stroking. That's not a euphemism. He's literally stroking an actual sword hilt. So he decides to get a grip on his emotions and sits down to chill out and adopts the Cody to calm his mind. We get some more musing on the past while he's clearing his thoughts, the history of Malkieri, his heritage, his duty, blah, 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 all that stuff. Go read it. Bukama arrives at the stables, all post-sexed, disheveled. Russell told him about the golden crane, so he's like, oh shit, maybe I should go talk to my man Lan, see if he's all right. There is a temptation to just go with it. Like, fuck it, let's raise the golden crane. Let's do this. I mean, I'm going to fight there anyway. He does want to fight in the Blight, but is it worth the cost? Like all these people want to come with me. They're all going to die if I lead them into the Blight. And we're not going to succeed in bringing back Malkieri. Like, what is dead in the Blight is dead forever. But this Lady Arel is a problem. Like, she's not going to go away. She's not the kind of lady to let Lan avoid his obligations either. She's raised the crane now, and she will expect him to go through with it. But they'll think about all of this later. First, I think Ryan mentioned something about a pub crawl. Let's go do that. From inn to inn tonight. Just clear the mind. Just fucking let loose. So they decide, fine, let's do that. Let's just head back to the common room. And they cross the yard back to the common room. But their path is blocked by 6 men striding straight at them. They are armed, but then again, so is everybody in the Borderlands. There's mention of it in these chapters that even the farmers are carrying swords. But Lan knows immediately that they mean him harm. He's seen this many, many times before. Bukama, in his post-coitus afterglow, forgot his sword. So Lan orders him to get inside the stable and bar the door. "Obey me, armsman," he shouts. Bukama hesitates only a second and says, "My life is yours, Daishan. I obey." I love
it's because even if he had his sword with him, he had sworn an oath not to draw it. So Bukama was squaring up barehanded.
Yeah.
And that's why Lan is like, no,
guys.
dude. Yeah. You are going to die like this. Go be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Luckily, Lan was in the Cody earlier, so he's already in the zone. And he's already back in the oneness, floating emotionally with his sword already out. It's ass-kicking time. The 6 men rush at him. Only in stories did 1 man defeat 6. So they dance, flowing between the forms. Cutting the clouds, soft rain at sunset, black pebbles on snow. The rose unfolds, dandelion in the wind, finishing off with kissing the adder. And then Lan is the only man still standing. He shakes the blood off his blade, wipes it off on the dead man's coat, and sheathes his sword as formally as if he were in training yard under Bukama's eye. People burst into the courtyard, drawn by all the commotion, of course. Ryan already with sword in hand. Too late, buddy. Bukama and the serving maid, Lyra, from earlier, who's going to honor him until his legs give out, rush to Lan and inspect his wounds, because only in stories did 1 man face 6 and not take any wounds. Lyra wants to get an Aes Sedai for healing, but we all know Lan's thoughts on Aes Sedai. It'll be stitches for him. Lots and lots of stitches. Russell sends one of the guests to get the watch and starts organizing the removal of corpses. Just another day in the Borderlands. Ryan recognizes some of the dead men. He thinks he saw 2 of them at the gathering when Lady Arel announced that she was raising the golden crane. Ryan takes this opportunity as well to nonchalantly mention that she only raised the crane when she heard that Lan had been killed by the Aiel. With Lan dead, she would be El Eden. But he's not accusing anyone of anything. He's merely speculating, just giving information about what he heard. Lan is not insulted. He wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Eden wanted to have him killed for her own ends. Bukama knows this too and asks where they are heading. Can't stay here. Lan says Chachin. They leave at first light. Ryan will join them. He's still in awe of Lan killing 6 men. One of his first words as he get into the courtyard was 6. And figures, well, obviously the safest place is next to El Lan Mandragoran if you're going to get in a fight. Lan accepts his offer to join them. He has to either go along with the raising of the Golden Crane or stop this Lady Arel. Either way, he has to face her, and he had rather face the Blight. The end.
He thinks to himself, the Blight would have been much easier. Not just easier, much easier.
I do not want to face this woman, but I'm going to have to.
Yes.
So, I was going to make some notes on who this woman is and her history, and then I forgot and carried on with mine.
Just didn't do it.
That's pretty much what we read about here.
Yeah, all right. So she's a lady. Is she in charge of anything? Is she like... Is
Not
she
anymore.
ex-Malkieri?
She's Malkieri. That's why she was his... whatever that word is, the sort of...
Carnera.
Because we don't talk about that, like what that means, right? Like when Malkieri boys are like 14 or something, an older woman kind of takes charge of like them losing their virginity and having like, this, because she's in her 30s, I thought, when they sort of gave an indication of her age, she would be in her 30s, so twice his age, more than. So, pretty... not okay by modern standards. Right?
But as in true Blood and Ashes form, we do not kink shame here.
No.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
Other cultures have different rules, Moritz. Especially imaginary cultures. And so she's around still, and she is taking advantage of her relationship with him to accumulate power by raising the Golden Crane. And I thought, that's Nynaeve's job, you bitch.
Yeah.
Put that crane down.
His arrival back is also an inconvenience because, all right, let's send 6 people to dispose of him. 6 will do. No one can take 6 people on. Only in the stories.
Only in stories. Luckily for Lan, this is a story.
Yes. Indeed. So inconvenience. I thought you were dead. Oops, he's back. Let's make you dead.
Also, Lan has a Shanaran estate.
Yes.
It was gifted to him at some point when he became a man.
Dude, when you're nobility, people just throw shit at you. Like rich people just they get more money thrown at them for no reason.
It's interesting here, like Joe, you mentioned how up here in Kandor or in the Borderlands, like the women approach the men. And Lan thinks at one point he was talking to his feet or something like that. Instead of meeting her eyes rudely, like they're not even looking women in the eyes. They are so subdued.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all the notes I had. Rad sword fight though.
Oh, very nice. Like we've spoken about, like the idea of having the forms and giving them names is such a cool way to describe a fight scene, so that it's just left up to you to imagine. The 3 of us imagined this fight scene in our own ways, which is very cool. That's why, like, for example, the trick about not feeling the cold, like explicitly explaining things kind of takes away the magic about it.
It does.
The last move was a kiss the adder.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
kissing the adder.
It's like a straight stab in the heart.
Straight stab. I was like, it's like, where would you kiss an adder? Like, top of the head.
It was in his heart.
Good.
Nice.
Some ginger. He got his ass kicked. Some ginger kid there. He got sliced in the face. He was the last to die. No, Jordan has something against redheads because he was lying on the ground. His heels are kicking in the sand as he's gurgling in his own blood. Like,
maybe he had to balance Rand, the main protagonist of the story, being a redhead.
Indeed.
All right. Next chapter is chapter 17, called An Arrival. Vil, can you help us arrive at a conclusion on this chapter by providing a summary?
I'm still confused because I was looking for Anne the whole time at this Anne arriving, but yeah, arriving.
Anne of Green Gables.
We're back in the point of view of
Stop
Moiraine,
taking my words.
and guess where Moiraine is? In Cancun.
At the Green Gables. Oh, no.
Yep. Now, it's 3 months since she's fled the tower at this point in time, and what she thought was going to be a grand adventure turned out to be saddle sores because there's a lot of riding, a lot of moving, a lot of disappointment, a lot of note taking. She's back in her old alias. Well, we recall her old alias, this lady, the noble Lady Alice. And she has been now speaking to a lady who has following up the birth of said boys in her notebook. No, the dad, the younger son, and the little one were all in the stables when the stables burned down. The man was a very lucky man. He survived the Aiel War. He survived like a lot of weird shit. And did the Reds kill him and his sons?
Who?
What was the name of the boy? Jureen.
I think so. The mom even thinks to herself, like, it shouldn't have burnt that quickly. She seems confused by it. Yes.
But also, this guy's just had crazy luck, like almost a Matt-like luck of just surviving shit and getting shit right. And all of a sudden, she loses her husband and sons, and one of them an infant that would have been only what? Yeah. Anyway, immediately question marks, red flags, as red as the flames that engulfed that stable. Anyway, Moiraine again. Because it's a dead end, she's already checked out mentally. Mentally, she's moved on to the next name on the list. But she's posing as a noble. She has to do nobility stuff and listen to the repeating stories of this woman's sadness, left with only her daughters now. She has got a small room in an inn called the Gates of Heaven. She returns to that full room, to that inn, to find a very full inn, mostly merchants, but also a shit ton of Aes Sedai. Very many of them, at least 5 in the common room, who has already sensed the nobility's ability to channel, and she has politely declined that the tower is not for her, yada yada yada. But as she heads for the stairs, she's spotted by newly arrived sisters that know her. And as part of their knowing her, it was Marianne and Laurel, something of the sort. And it's like, oh, Moiraine, what are you doing here? Freshly fled out of the tower. And this other sister spots them speaking to her and say, oh, don't worry about her. She's not interested in joining the tower and that whole story. I have no interest in becoming a novice. She's anyway 22. She's way too old. And then a voice comes from the stairs. So this girl does not want to be a novice? Ha! And the paw gives it
the paw gives it away.
The paw gives it away. Cadsuane is in the inn. And Moiraine has only ever once heard that voice, and she could not forget the voice of Cadsuane because it is a notable woman, and she's like, bring the girl. Now, Moiraine and the other Aes Sedai sisters, like, ooh, shit, Moiraine, you're in the shit now. It's all you.
We're all in the shit
Moiraine
now.
and Laurel has no choice now but to follow the powerful sister's orders. In her private sitting rooms, they follow Cadsuane in, and Cadsuane circles them like a shark, sussing them out. And she immediately, like, most new sisters don't remove their shawl, not even for bath time. in the first couple of months. And yet, here you are in the near blight on your own, posing as nobility. Why? Moiraine has a nice excuse up her sleeve. She's hunting for a warder. Border men make good warders. Not lying, because she can't lie. So I think her exact word is, I've heard that border men make good warders. All true. Cadsuane then ignores Moiraine and asks Moiraine and Laurel. See, my names are so confusing. It's like
Mirian.
Yeah, Mirian and Laurel, their thoughts on Moiraine, and which they go through all of her strengths and weaknesses. The notable weaknesses that she needs some seasoning, quick to anger, and even at that, she has a angry moment and then blushes at herself for having a angry moment. Told
No,
that,
dude,
and now we
they're
learn.
airing. Sorry, they're airing all her dirty laundry, like
Hey,
literally
it's
every
Cadsuane.
private factor.
You have no choice.
Oh, and her pillow friends, and that time that she did this, and like everything. That's why she's all like, "What the
Loves
fuck?"
a prank, terribly malicious
She's
prank.
She's Aes Sedai. She should be keeping it together.
Yep, and
They should be following the norms.
Jody is outraged.
Jody,
I'm
I
pure
think if
outrage.
anything, this chapter gives us that Cadsuane does not follow any norms, and there's a lot
That's
of
fine.
highlighting to that fact that she doesn't follow protocol, etiquette, or norms. I did like that the mouse prank is explained, and we now
that they were
know
busted.
why they were gotten a beating the night before they were raised to the shore, because they were caught with the mice heading to Elida's chambers. Anyway, Moiraine then says, well, she's going to Chachin next, and her business is her own. Cadsuane smiles at her and says, nope, you're not, mate. You'll be staying right here. Go pour us some wine. Marianne is asking then, okay, well, what's the interests in Moiraine here? And Cadsuane takes the discussion to how the power in the tower is waning, and in the sense of physical power in the power with woman, that Moiraine, though powerful, in 100 years from now might be one of the most powerful, but she doesn't touch on Karina Gashi, Cadsuane, or any of these sisters. And that's a concern for her. And in this, nothing is out of bounds for her. The age that she's talking about of people, the power is never really spoken about, how people are measured in the power. And Moiraine is like, whoa, this woman has got no, almost tact.
Yeah.
She
doesn't
reminds
know
me
the
of
meaning
me.
of the word.
It's very much.
She's like the Wayne Dean of Aes Sedai.
Yeah, but I mean, a valid point. Cadsuane doesn't want Moiraine to be wasted on the road, traveling alone. It just takes an arrow to kill an Aes Sedai. We've heard this many times over. And she's like a pretty little doll like you. Become a bad man's prey very easily. What are you going to do? So Moiraine will now travel with Mirian and Laurel by the command of Cadsuane. All three of them are not stoked. This goes against all of their own plans. Like, no, this is not what we wanted to do. How you change our plans like that? Moiraine likens Cadsuane to an avalanche. And I was like, ha, righto.
Pa, indeed, yeah.
Far indeed.
Cadsuane does not fuck around. She's a formidable force. Which then makes me think, does Cadsuane at this point in time know about the boy being born? Because Tana have let a lot of people know.
Tamra.
Yes, that's what I said.
I know what he meant.
Yes, Jody's all with me.
But we're also talking to many, many listeners.
And they all know what we mean. If they 105 episodes in, they know exactly what we mean.
They understand me by now. Because, I don't know. I think perhaps something
That theory
reached her.
is about as valid as Varen having read Moraine's little book while she was in the test.
I don't think Cadsuane would have been off in retirement, trying to grow roses if she knew that the dragon had been reborn and people were actively looking for him. Because in the main series, that's what she had been doing before she arrived on the scene.
And I think that if I read this correctly, it's been 4 months now since the
It's about
3
4
months.
months since the foretelling.
Oh, since the foretelling, yes, about 4 months.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's enough time for news to spread, but the news is not spreading. It's a secret. So I don't
it's
see
not
how
news.
Cadsuane could have known. I mean, if anyone's going to wiggle some news or some secrets out of anybody, it's going to be Cadsuane, but I don't think so.
But the news has spread within the Black Aja.
Yeah, but that's because they have tortured and killed Tamara Ospenia and interrogated her. And also Duhara, who is Black Aja, is now Siren's keeper of the Chronicles. So any kind of information coming in and out of the Amyrlin study is going through the Black Aja in Duhara, right? So the Black Aja, that's why this dude that Moiraine was chasing up in the beginning in the barn with the boys, that's why they were killed. And apparently they were trying to find signs of anyone that showed exceptional luck, like that guy, like the dad, and anything lucky happening around children, because they knew the Dragonborn would be Taverin, going and killing them.
Yo.
So the Black Aja has information, but obtained through torture and murder and subterfuge. It's not rumors and information that's out there that they're picking up on. They've gone into the source.
Now, that's where that chapter ends. And discuss.
Well, thank you.
Is Marion's the mistress of the novices at the moment, right?
Yeah. And Black
So
Aja.
that's why she knows all of Moraine's secrets and
That's
everything
what
about
I wanted
her.
to discuss. Like, Veli was like, we realize in this chapter that Cadsuane doesn't follow any rules. Yeah, but Marianne and Larelle should still be, like, they shouldn't be spilling so much intimate detail about it. Like, Cadsuane asked, tell me about this girl. Not like, what panty she's wearing and who she's sleeping with. Like, holy fuck, man. Like,
Yeah.
keep it together. Or they're just so terrified of Cadsuane that they just, like, we better give too much
She
detail
has an
rather
aura,
than...
yeah.
Yeah.
Cadsuane can probably pick up on whether they're telling the whole story or not.
Also, Cadsuane is wearing a trinkets that can find out things and possibly twist.
No, no.
Yeah.
We know what those trinkets do.
She's compelled
Almost
them
then.
to tell her.
No, but she's got a big aura. I mean, that's her whole thing, right? Like, that's almost a defining trait. What else, Joe?
No, it's just like, I know this is going to go against everything I've said for the last 104 episodes about Cadsuane, but when she popped up, I was happy to see her.
It's because
it's
you
with
actually like her. And the chapter icon is like the little ornaments from her hair.
If you say so. Spoiler alert, my favorite moment is a Cadsuane moment, so.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I had a couple extra notes here. Moraine's already using the name Lady Elise, which she's still doing 20 years later. Use a different pseudonym. After 20 years of traveling, people are going to know Lady Elise as well. Like she's going to have a presence in the world. Just like mix it up a little bit, guys.
She's going to have a
Come on.
social security number, like people are gonna permanent address.
The Aes Sedai also earlier they say that this noblewoman before in the room, the other Aes Sedai in the common room tell Cadsuane or tell the other people that she says that she's 22, but if Moiraine had said that to them, she's bound by the oath rod. So we know that Moraine's actual age at this point is 22.
Yeah, and that's funny what you're saying is like they're not taking novices, older novices. She's 22.
22.
And in reality, she's literally just past the shawl. She's the perfect age. And you're like, well, she's too old.
Yeah.
Fools.
And then my last note was about Marion, who only ever had one warder who was a dark friend, and she never bonded another since she couldn't find another dark friend that was suitable. Plus, she was not bound by the 3 oaths, so she didn't feel the need to have another warder because she could just use the one power as a weapon. So Marion's out here cruising around, no warder. I don't need him. Black Archer, bitch. Anyway. Let's forge ahead then to chapter 18 called A Narrow Passage. Joe, can you summarize this passage from the book for us, please?
Very nice, Moritz. I like what you did
I'm
there.
stretching with these.
No, that one's actually quite nice. I like the play on words, the double entendre. That's how it's pronounced, apparently, after 2 beers and no lunch. Wah! All right. Willie's on 16 beers, apparently. Everyone...
No, this is still the same one from that I opened
the same
2
beer.
hours ago. Slow
Of
sipping.
course. Those half-liter cans. All right. Everyone is staring at Moiraine when she comes back into the common room after this encounter with Cadsuane. And they're all thinking, ach, shame, poor woman. Like, we know what happened in there. She survived an Aes Sedai attack. And now she's going to be off to the tower. Like, nah. You thought you could hide, but it's not happening. Cadsuane has left her all discombobulated, and she wishes Siuan were there, that she could just lean on her for support and give her a hug for strength. And, oh, wait, there she is, popping her head in the door. And then she's like, hey, shh, come follow me, and then runs out. And Moraine's like, what the fuck? So she follows. Obviously she does. She keeps her distance, of course. They're walking through the streets. Wagons... Wagon riders are whipping her in the head, over the head, saying, hey, get the fuck out of the way. But Siuan's not paying attention to anybody. They're making their way through the crowded streets. And Siuan turns down a narrow passage. Moiraine follows her down there. And before Moiraine can open her mouth to ask, like, what are you doing here? Siuan asks, hey, have you found the Dragon Reborn? Please tell me it was this Najima boy that you just visited. Can we hand him over to the tower and be done with it? Is this all done and was finished? And she's like, no, like, we're not anywhere near done. Why? And Siuan starts weeping. And now Moiraine is really worried because shit must be serious for Siuan to be breaking down and crying in an alleyway. Like, what are you doing here, first of all? And now you're crying? And she's right. Shit is serious. They're all dead. All of the searchers. Aisha, Karene, Belera, Ludus, Malin. All accidents, bandits on the road, natural causes. All dead. Moraine's like, okay. That is suspicious. But Aes Sedai die. People die, you know. Even Aes Sedai, they die. But someone is covering up the deaths because Siuan has some information that I remembered and I mentioned in a previous podcast. I wasn't quite right, but I was half right. Because Siuan was hidden under Malin's bed the whole night that she was supposed to have died in her sleep. She had snuck into her room to speak to her about Karene's death, which was already known at that time. Except Malin never came back to her rooms and Siuan fell asleep under her bed in hiding. And when she woke up in the morning, the bed had not been slept in. Then later, when she was at breakfast, Chesmal Emry, who we know to be Black Aja, came to announce that Malin had died in her sleep. Like Chesmal, she ended up in Leandrin's group later on in the main story. So Siuan knows for a fact that she didn't die in her sleep because she was in her room. No way. So at first, Moiraine tries to argue that, yeah, okay, you know, like maybe is like the Red Aja up to something, because we are, of course, dealing with a man who can channel, so maybe the Red Aja is trying to do something. But Siuan's like, listen, Malin was killed with a power, all right, because the Yellows did a delving, there was not a mark on her, they couldn't find out how she died, so she's pretty sure that she was killed with a power, and there's no way a Red Aja could do that. And they both reluctantly reach the same conclusion. It must be the Black Aja. It exists, and they are killing off the searchers. They, of course, do not want the Dragon Reborn found and guided and trained and sent to the last battle to win for the light. So Siuan thinks she and Moiraine are safe for the time being, as Tamra never made them part of the search. She's never mentioned them. You know, they're unofficials. Like, she swore them to silence that night. She sent them off, and she forgot about them. So I think we're safe for the time being. Siuan came all of this way because she couldn't trust a message. She couldn't use the Eyes and Ears network because who could be Black Aja? Like, anybody could be Black Aja. In fact, who can they trust now? And that reminds Moiraine, like, oh shit, I just had an encounter 5 seconds ago with a whole bunch of Aes Sedai. And she tells her about Cadsuane and Marianne and Laurel. And from the description of their behaviors, if anyone's going to be Black Aja, it's going to be Cadsuane. Like, it's like, that woman's not right. She's got to be Black Aja. So, yeah, one of those women is Black Aja, but not Cadsuane. Siuan tries to make a plan to get them out of there. She's like, all right, you go. Can you get your horse out of the stables without being seen? All of this stuff. And Moraine's like, no. I have to stay. Cadsuane said in Willie's chapter, they're like, hey, if you try to run, I'm going to catch you. I'm going to come check on you, see if you're in bed tonight. So she's like, all right, I got to stay in my room. Plus, I'll be noticed if I'm missing. I can't go get, like, listen, this is what we're going to do. No one knows you are here, Siuan. Like, it's a secret at the moment. So you're still under wraps. Let's keep it that way. So she gives her some money, which she accepts reluctantly. She's always like, because by the look of her, she has been sleeping under bushes. She's like, no. Take some extra money, because I know that you left the tower with almost no money, thinking it's going to be enough. So take some of my gold. I got lots. Have a bath and sleep in a bed tonight. And you carry on the search. You go ahead of me. We've both got our little books, and we know who's next on the list and what town they're in. So you go along, and I will catch up with you later on. So they hug, and they go their separate ways. Moiraine heads back to the inn, where she sees a man with Arafellan braids talking to like a half-hidden Aes Sedai who's entering the doorway. She only really sees the hand of the Aes Sedai, and she can't make out the color of the shawl that's draped over. She can't tell who it is, but she knows by the shawl that it's an Aes Sedai speaking to this Arafellan-styled man. His identity is revealed in Willie's chapter, so I'll leave it. Mm-hmm. But she notices that this conversation between the two is heated. Like the Aes Sedai is saying, shut up, go away. Like, I'll talk to you later. So this man leaves. So she's also now super paranoid about the Black Aja, dark friends. So now she's extra careful. She doesn't want to be seen by this man or anybody. So she waits. And when the coast is clear, she continues to the inn, and she goes inside to see Moiraine, Laurel seated together, and Cadsuane going into the private sitting room with two grey-haired, hard-looking men. So it could have been any three of these Aes Sedai. She can't figure out who it was that was just talking to the man outside. She's approached by the innkeeper, who has also apparently heard the rumors that she's off to the tower, and now he has no shame in moving a merchant into her room to make space for all of these new Aes Sedai. He treats her with no deference and respect, even though she is Lady Elise. I wonder if it's pronounced Alice. we say loyal, but it's pronounced loyal. We say what's the water? Elias, and it's just Elias. Like, it's very fancily written. Like, we make it more flowery in our minds.
Yes.
Maybe it's just Alice. So anyway, so it turns out the woman, the merchant that's moved into a room, a Mistress Palan, maybe just Palin, is a talker and won't leave Moiraine alone for a second. She drags her off for dinner in the common rooms. They're joined by a gaggle of other women who give her advice on what to expect in the White Tower as a novice. You'll have to do this, and then you have to do that. All of it is bullshit. They know nothing. Moiraine even thinks, like, if they did that, novices would die. But of course she keeps quiet. She just bears with it because she's on a mission. She has a plan. That night, she has to share her bed, of course, with Mistress Palan. It's not even a double bed. It's a single bed. And Mistress Palan is not only a talker, but also a snorer. Not that Moiraine can sleep anyways. Too many thoughts of Black Aja and dark friends going on. Like, a lot of shit happened today. So she's not sleeping anyway. And just then, her door creaks open, and she embraces the source, enough to almost burn herself out. But it's only Cadsuane. Moiraine and myself, the reader, had forgotten that she was going to come back and check on her to make sure that she was there. And Cadsuane takes one look at the glow, probably feels how much power Moiraine is drawing, and just mutters, "Fool girl," before leaving. Moiraine takes the opportunity. She counts to 100, jumps up, gets dressed. She's planning on disobeying another Aes Sedai who is above her, and told her to stay put. She takes even less gear with her this time, only an extra shift, some stockings, a hair comb, and a sewing kit. She's leaving her saddlebags so that if she's seen in the street, it looks like it won't be weird that she's traveling around at this time of the morning. But if she's got saddlebags, that's going to draw attention. So she can only take what she can fit in her coat pockets, along with her gold and her letters of rights. And she's out the door, again, on a new little mission. The end.
Yeah, good stuff. Willem, what you got?
Hey, traveling light. She's on the move.
man.
getting used to the next 20 years of her life.
Like, she was already traveling light when she left the tower. Now she's just whatever can fit in her pockets, man. Let's go.
Well, you know, letters of rights is an helpful thing to fit into a pocket. So
She's got
can
pouches
replace
of gold on her belt and letters of rights, which are at least 1,000 gold. Like, she could buy whatever, you know, like whatever. Doesn't matter.
But she doesn't want to draw attention.
No.
She can't leave a trail, you know. Can't be splashing the cash.
throwing around gold Tarvalon marks.
Yes.
No
Like
one
she
will
does,
notice.
mistakenly.
Yeah.
I had a thought about Chesmal Emery. Saying that Mylin had died in her bed. There is some thought, like Moiraine has a thought about the Black Arger and the searchers being killed, and then she immediately suppresses, can't think about that. And then she and Swan go through this whole like conversation, and then eventually they're like, it must be the Black Arger. They don't for a second go back like, maybe Chesmal was lying. I mean, Swan knows that Mylin didn't die in her bed. But Chesmal had said she died in her sleep. So they're just assuming that Chesmal spoke the truth and that maybe she died in her sleep somewhere else or something. Because they don't, either one of them go, Chesmal must have been lying because I was in Mylin's bedroom and she did not die in her sleep in her bed. So they must assume she died in her sleep somewhere else. But it just shows you now like how blocked they are to the idea of it. Like to put even names to the Black Arger, I think they are resisting subconsciously.
But I mean, in the same
Two
breath,
things.
Chesmal could have been told. Look, we know.
That's
Yeah.
one of my things, yeah.
Yes.
Somebody could have she's assuming somebody sent Chesmal to say this to everybody. Like, hey, go tell everyone that she's
Fair.
dead. Like, she's
Yes,
just
yes.
reporting. And second of all, they've just accepted the fact that it could be Black Arger. So they're not professional Black Arger hunters.
No.
Like, they literally just agreed on it now in the passage.
That it exists. Yes.
That it exists, let alone like who's in it and how it works. And
But it was
So,
Chesmal and Galena who torture and kill Tamra.
Jack's complete lack of surprise here.
Yeah. Okay, what else did I have here? Oh yeah, more on the Black Arger, more and things to stuff. How many could there be? 20? 50? A terrible thought would be more than that. At this point, it's like probably around 200.
So many. I'm still flabbergasted by how many
lot.
Black Arger there are.
That's a lot.
21%, I believe.
Yes, 21.5. The idea of Cadsuane being Black Arger, which we just covered in book 10, is born here. Swan thinks, maybe Cadsuane is... So I wonder if her quickness to jump to Cadsuane as Black Arger is still from her considering Cadsuane as Black Arger back here. And like how long between these stories, or like what's happening here in New Spring and in book 10, or where like Cadsuane is active in the main series, like how much time and how many interactions were there with Cadsuane in between? Probably none. So I'm going to look forward to when Moiraine is rescued from the Tower of Genji, or from Sindhol, when she and Cadsuane cross paths again. I want to see if there's any kind of acknowledgement from Cadsuane or Moiraine about this interaction back here.
I would imagine so.
Like, you've come a long way since being just raised, or, like, it seems like you found him, or, like, whatever it may be.
I wonder if Cadsuane greets her as like, oh, Lady Elise, how are you?
Something along those lines.
I mean, Moiraine, and we know, is like, she doesn't go back to the tower frequently. Because her life is now spent in saddlebags, effectively, looking for Rand.
Living out of a suitcase.
Oh, well, not even. So, yeah, I actually had that same thought. Like, because Cadsuane does have a notable effect on people if she can just recognize her by her voice. Like, and she's only ever heard her speak once.
Yes.
Like, okay, this is a...
She leaves an impression, eh?
Maybe she's got a really crazy voice.
Hello, I'm Cadsuane.
She only screams. Just like, what's the guy? Bobcat. What's his name?
From Police Academy.
Yes. Zed from Police Academy.
Oh, Zed.
Okay. That's everything from me. Joan, did you want to say anything before we get to our final chapter for today?
No, I think I said it. It was my chapter, right? I think I said everything I wanted to say.
You said it all. All right. Well, then, let's forge ahead to the final chapter for this episode, which is chapter 19, called Pond Waterville. Tell us about the big fish in a small pond, please.
Oh, yes. There are very small fish in a small pond. Not big fish. It's not how ponds and fish work.
Not literal fish, no.
No. We're in the point of view of Moiraine, of course, and we are leaving Canluum. And it is bright and early in the morning, and she is packed to travel very lightly. So, yet again, she is running away from responsibility, which I really like.
Running towards responsibility, I would say.
Yes.
And just a nitpick, I don't believe it's bright and early. I believe it's pre-dawn when she's leaving.
It's grey skies.
Thanks, Jody.
Skies look rained out.
Yeah, just being pedantic.
Yes.
Love it.
I'm trying out this pedantry thing. I don't think it's for me.
105 episodes in.
Chachin gets tossed a silver to saddle arrow, and the general thought is that only a fool noble will go riding this early in the morning. She's not the only person that is ready to leave. She spots 3 men with swords, horsebows, and quivers that are packed, and a pack horse, and she recognizes them to be the men at the inn.
One of them.
The Arafalin.
It's a different inn.
Yes. And the gates stay closed until, let's call it first rise then, when it's safe to open.
I concur.
We are in the north. There's rules, and there's gates are much like a national park. Before sunset, after sunset, gates closed.
The Great Northern National Park of Candor.
Yes.
Canluum. Also, sorry, Willie, to keep interrupting you. Cool little detail we haven't spoken about is the lamps in the streets that they keep lit all the time
for shadows.
The anti-fade.
That is just standard fodder. But yes, sun's out, gates open, and those are off. Everyone goes out. Merchant trains move slow, so the men and a single woman with just horses clear them quite quickly, and she decides that she is just going to shadow them for now, because now there's a lot of things to follow on. But first, she founds a village, does a quick stop, picks up some lunch, asks around, and then gallops arrow really hard until she catches up on the Chachin road with the 3 men. She thinks they might be baddies. The one has the look of being a baddie. But she's got a plan to handle them. The sun starts to get low in the sky now, and she needs a hayloft to sleep in. And ahead she sees the 3 men separating. The younger one, gets the pack horse and turns into the woods, and the other 2 ride hard ahead. So she decides, rightio, I'll take the single younger one and surprise him. And she's so stoked at how well she can track him. He's so careless, leaving obvious marks of broken sticks and slippages and what.
He's obviously no woodsman.
He's no woodsman.
Thinks Moiraine, yeah.
Moiraine then tracks him to the pond, where he's busy unsaddling his horse and all of that, and she's going to question him, and she'll move silently up to him with a belt knife in her hand, and she's going to get his sword off him with the power. It's going to be fantastic. And no, it doesn't work out that way. As soon as that sword moves, he grabs it by the scabbard and also does karate moves and judo throws. And Moiraine finds herself unable to hold on to the power because the water is so cold. Up north, cold water running down from snow-capped mountains, I assume.
Indeed.
And she is soaked. Lan just stands there frowning, offers her his hand, and says it's unwise to separate a man from his sword. Very good. He then makes a fire, offers to hang some blankets for some privacy, obviously knowing or spotting perhaps that she's Corinian. The other two men return and then immediately says, did she follow you? And he's like, yep. And she is like, what? They had known. Now, she had dried herself with the power already behind the hung curtains for her, but thought she'll enjoy the warmth of the fire and just listen to the conversation. Then she comes out finally, claiming the right of a woman traveling alone, and she will give the men each a fat silver in their hands and double that when they arrive at Chachin. Bukama bends the knee, swears an oath. He's all in. It's like swearing oaths now.
Yeah.
He's old school, bro.
Yeah, old school.
He's so old school.
They then turn to food and then sleep. Moiraine weaves wards over all three men that will wake her every time they move. The sad thing about that is every time they do change the guards, she wakes up, and in one of these guard changes, she overhears Lan saying to Rain that I'd sooner trust an Aes Sedai. Basically, Rain saying, like, look, man, she's fine. I bet you can go to sleep. And I think that's when Rain... And she is so offended, quick to anger, note from previous chapters, and then channels the water-drenching weave that uplifts the water like the Abyss movie, the alien water spout.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Moving through and douses Lan for his words, and then also reveals herself as a furious Aes Sedai at this point in time. Lan, thinking that this is an attack before she reveals her shadow spawn, like, Rain, you watch her. Bukama, you get draw swords and ready to move. This is a weird shadow form spawn. Never seen something like this, but let's go kill it. True adventure style adventuring. And she reveals herself then to the story. And when Lan hears this, he's like, rightio, sheathes his sword and goes and sit down, sopping wet, back in his spot in the mud. And
in the mud.
Carries on with his watch.
Yeah.
He had to look around like, no, but this was the
bastard.
advantage spot. I chose the spot for its good angles, probably, and sits down, and that's the end of the chapter.
It's nothing to do with his ego.
Nice. So Pondwater was exactly what we remembered it to be.
Yeah.
Joe, did you have any observations?
I like some extensions on the ideas that Willie mentioned. Like when she's behind the curtains, the blankets, she's not staying there so that she can eavesdrop on them only, also that she wants them to, because she's already dry, so she has to pretend that she's there drying. So that's why she's taking it wrong.
Yeah.
That she hasn't used the one power. She does all of this stuff to like hide herself, and at the end just throws water on them, says, "I am an Aes Sedai." Like
22-year-old hot-blooded,
kids, eh?
Yeah.
And I think she wets everybody. Isn't Bukama wet as well? Like everybody gets doused. Rain.
I think Lan gets...
Is it only Lan?
Maybe it's splashed on the
Yeah,
others
it's
or something,
splashed
but
on
it's
the
only
rest
Lan.
because Bukama and them, they're
it's
sleeping probably around the fire. Or no, they didn't have a fire, but they're probably sleeping kind of around each other there. So they get a dousing.
Well, they had a conversation. It was at a guard change, right? Like Lan's comment was... about he'd rather trust an Aes Sedai. Is that what sets off?
Yeah, because it was Rain that was on shift and then going, and I think he said, like, look, man, she's sleeping. She's fine. You could just go to sleep. And he's like, I'd rather trust an Aes Sedai. And that comment just pushed her over the edge. But I don't think it was that. I think it's the fact that they changed guard every hour. So every hour she was woken up by her own wards.
Look, that probably did not improve her mood.
No.
But she was certainly triggered.
Yep.
Triggered. Yes. Did you mention that Rain? Now it looks like it's always been Rain. Tried to go and get a peek at her naked.
I didn't
Lan
mention
had to
that.
step in. Lan had to
you've
step in
seen
between
some
and draw his sword.
Kyrenian nude before, and then she goes thinking.
I don't think
while
it's got
she's
anything
lying
to
there.
do with her being Kyrenian and them being prude. I think these guys are so honor bound. The idea of a man sneaking a peek at a woman who is afforded privacy is anathema to Lan. Like Jody says, he bears his blade.
And
Like,
then
it's like,
they
what the
sit
fuck?
down
Like,
to
have you
play a
fallen
game
so far from the
called Sevens.
of sevens?
Like,
Yeah,
Got
the
it.
sevens game.
Can you get 7 millimeters from your throat with a sword without bleeding?
I think it's the
man, or
first
what?
one to win 7 times in a row. Is my guess. To get your sword first to the guy's throat, and the first one to 7 wins. That's my interpretation of the game.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Rain wins the first one. I was like, oh, Lan's going to take... Oh, no, Lan doesn't. Immediately.
Yeah, no. Rain
So
is
Rain's no slouch.
he's no slouch, exactly.
They are all in the Borderlands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one there is a slouch with
They
a
are,
sword.
but also Lan.
Yeah. But
Also
also
Lan.
young Lan. Not
Also young Lan.
Lan we
True.
know.
Young Lan.
Yes.
20 years ago, Lan.
Yeah. Yeah, do we ever read about Lan beating a blade master before the events of the Eye of the World? Probably not, because he's not carrying a Heron Mark blade.
But
He's carrying the blade of the Malkieri kings, isn't he? Like his father's blades.
The
which-
power wrought blade.
It's power wrought, but it's not Heron marked.
Isn't it? Oh,
I don't think that it is.
Don't.
callback time.
I think if you make a power wrought blade, that it would be Heron branded.
I'm putting a fucking heron
Not
on that blade.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Not
I
necessarily.
would.
The power wrought blades were made during the Age of Legends.
Yeah, so maybe they weren't.
Because there was
No,
a
they
very
made
good
power wrought
description
blades
about the
afterwards,
blade
after the
earlier in
breaking.
the book, and I don't recall Heron being on it. Just
Rand
many-
certainly would have noticed if there's one on Land's sword and his when they're practicing swords together like a million times.
Yeah.
Rand has never commented on it. And Land looks at Rand's blade and he talks to him about it, but never his own.
See, Lan doesn't need labels. He doesn't need.
No, it
heron
makes him even more
pictures.
badass, doesn't it? Like he doesn't even need the Heron mark. Not when a
what I
farm boy
thought.
can walk around with one.
So,
cheap.
Rand's Heron Mark blade was not power wrought. So it's not like all Heron Mark blades are power wrought. It's just
No, just
I
some
think we
blades
actually
are power
spoke about
wrought.
that early in the series, yeah.
yeah.
Because it's earlier in the book where the land sword is described and how many times the handle has been replaced in the sheath,
Yeah.
but the blade
the blade
itself
is 100%.
cannot tarnish.
And when it meets the blade of a fade, the blades from Thakandar, it's like crackling with like energy and
Sparks.
lightning and stuff. Like remember in that first fight when they're on their way to Shadow Logoth and they're chased by and Matt shouting in the old tongue and stuff like in the Eye of the World, Lan fights a fade on horseback and it's like these like the crash of the power wrought blade against the blade from Thakandar has this like cool reaction and stuff. Man, that's cool shit.
So much cool shit. This just makes me. I don't want to bring it up. You can
No,
cut this if you
don't. I
want.
know where you're going.
Okay.
Pull one out.
Everyone knows
For
where
what
I'm
could
going.
have been. Yes.
For what could have been, yeah.
All right, I had a couple notes, not too many. I was thinking how lucky it is that the sky looked rained out. If it was still raining the next morning, it would have been really difficult to convince people you're just going out for a little ride. You know, that's her whole pretense. She's not packing up all her stuff and anything because she's just going for a little ride. So lucky it wasn't raining. So Rain was meeting with Moiraine. She's the Black Archer
Yes.
sister.
Yeah.
In the other inn. What else did I have here? When Lan offers his hand to Moiraine when she's in the pond, she holds onto his hand and she's like tugging at herself, and he just stands up and she's dangling from his arm. Like he's just got his arm straight out and she's just dangling from it like a child. Which is really cool.
She
cool
is a
image.
child at this stage.
Yes, and a small one at that. A small
She's a tiny child, like in
Yes.
comparison to other children as well.
little porcelain doll. And then my last one is Moiraine thinks to herself about Rain. A pity if he turned out to be a dark friend. He was charming and quite pretty, really. She did not mind a man wanting to see her unclothed, only his telling others about it. The old double bluff from RJ. Like, God, it would be so sad if he was a dark friend. Guess what's coming.
You notice a trend amongst dark friends. They're never stoic. They're always the charming ones with dimples.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, through all of that fun action and events and stuff, did you guys pick a favorite moment, Jody? I'm pretty sure you've said that you've got one lined up.
I
That's the main
did,
one.
but my Kindle's charging over there. You guys go ahead. I need to find the exact quote.
Okay, all right. Vil, let us have it.
I sure have a favorite moment. And yes, it is Lan, and yes, it is Sword, and yes, it is 6 men that found the early waking from the dream at the whims of a woman's wishes. But the forms, the blade, the stoic nature, being in Cody, Lan just making short work, needing just a few sows, but she'll be right. And battle scar.
Sending Bukama away.
Yeah,
Bukama, like, don't worry, I'll handle this.
Put
and
your
then
blade,
straight
put your
away,
hands.
Rain coming out. 6 dudes, holy shit. Like no one can do that. Except our boy.
Lan.
Yeah, very cool.
A story.
That was my honorable mention, Will. I was very tempted to use that one, but when I looked back, I had to think about it. So my honorable mention was that fight outside the stable, but mine was mostly just that last chapter about how the Malkieri men like conduct themselves. Like, obviously super aware of Moiraine behind them on the road, like knew about her the whole time, purposefully left a track for her. They're just so calm and confident, like they're not even sticking together, like someone's following us. Okay, Lan, you just deal with that. Bukama and I, we're going to ride ahead, like Rain and Bukama ride ahead and go do whatever it is that they do. And Lan just sits there, chilled enough to just also meditate, go chill out, eyes closed, like not fazed by her at all. But then also when she does reveal herself and Bukama and Rain come back, how quickly Bukama does that oath. I claim the rights of a woman traveling alone. Bukama's like on his knee. Yes, you have my sword until my dying breath, or whatever, like over the top oath it is that he spits out there. And they just go about their business, not fazed by her at all. Lan gets drenched by the one power, obviously realizes, oh, she's an Aes Sedai or a channeler at the very least, and then still just goes and sits in his wet patch, like doesn't change his behavior or anything. They are just rock solid. I just fucking love the Malkieri.
Yeah, that was my other little honorable mention. It's just Lan looking around for another sitting spot, and he's just like, no, but this is the good vantage.
Does he
I chose this
pick
for
up
a
some
reason.
small fish or something? Like some like fish came with the water. Like,
yeah, this little fish like flip.
He's totally got a fish in his boot or something.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That being a very guy favorite moment, I'm gonna choose a very old lady now and what she says. This is a lot of reading. Just bear with me.
Okay.
Yeah. So Moiraine, but she might as well have stood in front of that avalanche. And Cadsuane says to her, "You will take great risks in your life if you live long enough. You already take more than you know. Heed carefully what I say and do as I say. I will check your bed tonight, and if you are not in it, I will find you and make you weep as you did for those mice. You can dry your tears afterward on that shawl you believe makes you invincible. It does not."
Yeah. Strong dose of reality.
Love it.
Oh, that is epic. Yeah, and I mean, Cadsuane speaks with like all the experience, right? She's already old and legendary at this point, has not just been like a political force in the tower, but has been like out in the world capturing. She's a green, not a red, but like instrumental in capturing men who can channel. Like I think single-handedly has brought in more men that can channel than the red Arja. I might be making that up. I'm not going to look it up, but like,
I believe you.
She is capital F formidable. Yeah, very cool. We had some favorite moments sent in from our listeners. Jonna Pierce continues her good form, this time not a voice note, but she says, "Hello again, Mo. Favorite moment of this set of chapters, if I'm not too late." You're not. I'm not going with the obvious Moiraine gets dunked because although hilarious, this little gem caught me this reread and I wanted to make sure and call it out. Moiraine had to talk Siuan out of including Sheriam in their search. Talking her out of it took hours. Holy crikeys, Batman! How bad would that have been? Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad. For specifically Moiraine and Siuan. I think the Black Arja are already, like as we can tell here by the death of this person that Moiraine was following up on, the Black Arja are already, working their stuff. Jonna continues, Moiraine was so smart to make sure and stop this. Immediately bringing in the Black Arja member to the search would have been disastrous. I'm not sure when she became black, since she just barely gets the shawl at all here at this moment, but if she was already a dark friend, then probably on her way to the black rather quickly, so still really bad news. Also, like, hello, if we're bringing in anyone, why not Leanne? She's a way better choice.
Yeah, and that's one of the friendships that they rekindled that I mentioned, but I didn't mention who.
Yes.
Yeah, but also the problem at that moment with bringing Sheriam into the fold is not that they figured she would be Black Arja, because they hadn't even thought of that. Is that she is the Tower Gossip.
Yes.
And we've had previous exchanges of this. She's the one that tells them that the Aiel are retreating because she's been chatting to this one who heard it from a god who heard it from this guy who heard it from that person.
True.
That's her. You can't tell her anything. Why would you even consider bringing her into this? Yeah.
Nice one. All right, thanks, Jonna. And then Gerald got in just too late with his previous favorite moment from our previous episode, which was for him when Moiraine puts on the Kay Sierra. It's a very iconic piece of her outfit from the books, of course. Mm-hmm. And then for this episode, he goes, my favorite from these chapters is in chapter 16 when Lan was pacing in the stable, scared the stable groom into leaving, and then realizes he was in the walking stance leopard in high grass. So like his like prowling walk and like stroking of his sword hilt that you mentioned is what sent the dude away. But yes.
I forgot about the prowling walk. Thanks, Gerald, for finishing that thought off.
Leopard in high grass. Obviously, another favorite was taking out 6 guys in the next chapter, Gerald.
Of course.
Thanks, Gerald.
That's too obvious, though. That's a favorite mention.
I know,
that's
we all ducked that one.
Honorable mention, yeah.
Except Vil leaned into it. I mean, at first blush, when I thought about it, I was like, it has to be that, right? And then I thought about how I felt when I read it. I almost felt like Lan was just taking care of business here. Like this was just a day at the office for Lan. And that's why I went with the Malkieri one. But I still had it as an honorable mention because when I immediately had to think back about the chapters, that's the first thing that jumps out.
I'm sorry, but if there's blades that's being bared, 9 out of 10 times, I'll probably pick that as my favorite moment because that's just great.
All right, so to our listeners, send us your favorite moments, your thoughts, your theories, corrections, or just say hi. You can do all of that using the social media links in the episode description, or just go straight to our website, bloodandashespodcast.com, where you can leave a text message or a voice note, which we can play on the show. Please review, rate, or comment on the podcast on your favorite podcast app, and when you've done all of that, you can start getting your feedback ready for next time on Blood and Ashes, where we will cover chapters 20 through 26 and the epilogue. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters.
Yo, long one.
Of which I will do one. Guess which one?
The last one. The 2 pages.
You already have the chapter
the
allocations.
Shortest, easiest ones.
Yes. Woohoo! Mo for the win.
Yeah, because I mean, you do nothing. Like editing is no big deal.
Oh no!
All the
all
research
callbacks
that you
and
do,
all that
all the
stuff.
callbacks,
No.
listener contributions. Like you don't do enough, Moritz.
Exactly.
Billy and I have talked about this, and we have some concerns. Your performance is not up to standard.
We'll need to have a performance review.
You are welcome to bring a supporting person to the HR meeting.
Bring a support animal.
These chapters are called Breakfast in Manala. Never heard of it. Some Tricks of the Power, Keeping Custom, The Evening Star, Making Use of Invisibility. An Answer, When to Surrender. I wonder if that's the last one before the epilogue. When to Surrender. I wonder if it's Lan surrendering to Moiraine to be her warder.
Be bonded. I will put my entire fortune on that. All 46 cents. Yeah.
I wonder what's going to happen in the epilogue that I'm going to cover. Ooh, exciting stuff.
Epilogues are usually all the meat lies, yes.
Where all the meat lies.
Yes. That's the expression, right?
Sure. The epilogue is where all the meat lies. But everyone will have to wait for our next episode for that specific meaty treat. And until we get to that episode, I will say to everyone, sleep well and wake.
Very good night.
Good day, everyone.